Okay, now, Zach. Sorry, Kaz. I'm sorry. All right, I just let me put the link to for you. The link, the new link. Copy. Okay, and it is in the. I put it in the comment. Uh, Let me see private chat. Okay, I put it in the private chat. The link. Speak. Yeah. All right. Yes. Yes. Hi, Zach. Hi, Kaz. Sorry. Hi, Kaz. I'm sorry. How are you?
I'm not bad. How are you, Muji?
I'm fine. Thank you. Thank you
Uh,
for being here. I hope that everybody now see the new live and they join here. Okay. Yes.
I'm gonna move my live stream to 2 hours from now, and I'll just upload this video after you send it to me, and I'll
Yeah.
live premiere it on my channel.
Okay. No
That's what
problem.
we'll do.
Okay. So how are you?
Not too bad. How are you?
I'm fine. Thank you. Thanks a lot for yes talking to me.
I
And
been watching our last episode for the last few
okay.
days, trying to see where we can go from
Okay.
here.
Okay.
If that's what where the direction you want to go. If you have questions you want to start
Yeah.
off
Yeah.
with,
Yeah.
by all
Yes. Yes.
means.
Hmm. Yeah. No, just because you asked me about uh, is Islam true or something like that, yeah, or scientific fact in the Quran. So what was that the first time you suggested me a topic? You
Um,
remember?
we were talking mostly about how you believe that Islam is good for society. It's a
Okay,
moral
yes.
force for good.
Yeah, no, no.
And
That yeah, that was my suggestion. Okay, but before you said that, shall we talk about? I think scientific fact or something, which I said that it
oh
is.
yes, I
Yeah,
remember
yeah,
now.
yeah, yeah.
I was
So
asking if there's some specific scientific evidences that you would like to talk about.
yeah, 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 yeah. And I was telling you actually that it is individual. Yeah, for somebody like I was talking to Matt Dillahunty, and I said, if somebody split the moon, would you accept that God exists? He said, no. There are a million possibilities that somebody can split the moon. So I realized that for some people, it is impossible. Even I was saying that how about if somebody bring the nearest galaxy close to our galaxy, would you, because he was saying that alien can split the moon, maybe they can split the moon, and so on. So I said, how about alien can bring a galaxy near to our galaxy? So I realized that some people won't accept anything. For me was enough, Kaz, for me it was enough to think that how people of the past thousands of years ago knew that there is an end to this universe, while the pagans, they didn't know such a things. They believed in reincarnation, and reincarnation is forever and all these things. So that was enough for me to think that there is something. Okay, but for some people, no. Even because Quran says to Prophet Muhammad, what why you think that if we give you, because Quran asked Prophet Muhammad that people ask you for signs, okay, tell them the signs is only with God, okay, and we sent signs to previous people and they didn't accept, and why you think that they might accept this time, okay, so don't be among the ignorant and so on. So anyway, that's why I decided that even if God exists, okay, we have to see what is his message. Does he Can he help us to have a better life, in this world? His guidance, his teachings, can they help us in this world? If they cannot help us, then yeah, so God exists. So what? Okay, this is my position. Yeah. So that's why I said no. We can talk about
Yeah, if I
his
remember
moral
correctly,
guide.
you're
Yeah.
in the
Yes.
last conversation. You were pretty adamant that you're not too interested in the idea that demonstrating that God is a fact of reality. You're more
Mhm.
interested in demonstrating the utility of the concept.
Yeah. Yeah.
It
So the
seems.
the message, yes. That what is it? How it can help us?
So when we last spoke, I was pushing back a lot on the specific tenets. We talked about alcohol. We talked
Hmm.
about what was it? The idea of money being
Hmm.
and usury and taxes.
Yeah.
Uh, and I found myself when I was going back over it thinking, there's a lot of things that Muji is saying here that I agree with. I
Okay.
think that, for instance, a usury and interest is an evil thing. I think that
Yeah.
money shouldn't exist.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, Alcohol is a net bad for
Hmm.
sure.
Yeah.
I would not go so far as to say that nobody should ever use it, but I
Hmm.
would go so far as to say nobody should ever get drunk.
Hmm.
Um, that's pretty easy to say.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
That's it.
I,
Exactly.
I'm a, I'm a little conflicted because
Hmm.
on one hand, I don't think that the Quran and the Hadith that you believe in actually support your positions, and on the other hand, I think that your positions are not that bad. So I'm wondering
Yeah.
what do I reconcile that with? Like, do I push back and try to change you to? Because if I convince you that the Quran doesn't say what you believe, if I'm
Okay.
successful in that, then what will happen then? Will you
Yeah.
abandon the beliefs that I agree with and then go to those beliefs instead? And I don't want that.
No. No.
So I
No.
don't
No.
know.
No. No. The thing is that I have said it many times here. Everybody know that if Islam is what the Hadith says, these extremist Muslims present, I'm a great enemy of that Islam. Okay, and they know, everybody know that my channel is mainly uh, for that reason. I'm not debating Christians or other, religion. I just present my religion, and I'm fighting these Muslim extremists, and they all have blocked me. Okay, and even I was forced to travel all the way to London to debate them there at the Speaker's Corner. Yes, because they don't let me to talk to them. Just a few days ago on TikTok, I talked to one of these extremists. Right away, he said, "Oh, you are a kafir," and he blocked me. Yes. So my main fight is against these extremists. All right,
It's
and if
interesting.
yes, if Islam is that, okay, let me share with you first something. Let me see, then you will see that what I'm saying. Uh, okay, what happened here? Mhm. Present, screen, YouTube, share. You see this guy, this guy, he's American. I think he's converted. I was talking to him on his TikTok. After a few seconds, he removed me. And here, let me see here. And he later he wrote on my channel that, look, it is the kafir who was on my live today. Yeah, you see, the guy
The
said,
cover.
yes, the kafir right away. Okay, let me remove
Yeah. So you're
this.
in an interesting position that you have a lot of people, most I'd say, if not all. Do you know any other Islam Muslims that believe as you
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
in real life?
Yeah, yeah, in real life. First of all, this is guy, for example, do you see the chat here? Zach, you
Yeah.
see the chat? Yes. This guy
Create your
is
own version of Islam. Even atheists and non-Muslims debate with him and told him you're not Muslim.
okay. Yeah. So
Yeah,
this guy
no
is
true
one of
Muslim.
yeah,
You are the
yeah.
no true Muslim.
Yes. So this is one of them that he always run away debating me. Everybody know. The moment I ask him a question, he ran away. All right. And so I would show you. Let me see YouTube. I will show you those people who agree with me in real life. Let me
You
see.
don't have to show their faces or their pictures or anything.
No,
You
no,
don't want to
no.
talk
It's
to
okay.
anybody.
They are open. They are open for everyone. Don't worry. Let me show you. I support this organization as well, and they are supported by many congressmen in USA as well. Okay, here it is. Uh, these are people. They are fighting Iranian regime, and they are Muslims, and they were in Iraq. Unfortunately, USA forced them to move to Albania, because they didn't want that they bring down Iranian ISIS regime, because they have a great interest in this regime, like Biden and Obama. Okay, and in this organization, for example, women are leaders. The men and women are absolutely equal. So they are fighting against Iranian ISIS regime. You see, all these women are leaders. We don't believe that women are, second class citizens, and they cannot be leaders. They are, disabled, and they are stupid. All these things that these extremists believe in. All right.
What about the hijabs?
Yeah, the hijab is, yes, some people believe in it. Okay. And for me, myself personally, okay, I believe in modesty. Okay. But if somebody want to wear this headscarf, but I don't believe that that's what God says in the Quran. God in the Quran says that cover your breast, so that you don't be molested. Okay, so it is all about your security. All right, so that's the reason. But this organization, they believe in hijab, to covering their head, but they are fighting for women who don't want to wear hijab. They are fighting for them. And the first Muslim organization that came out against Ayatollah Fascist Khomeini in Iran 44 years ago, it was this organization. So anyway, now let's talk about mostly about Islam, not about the organization. I just wanted to show that no, I'm not the only one. Okay, we are millions, and we are growing. Okay, we are growing.
So,
sorry, I have to say something, because somebody said, where is the link? Hourglass, after Kaz goes, later you can join. Okay, I don't put the link so far, so that, because I'm supposed to be on Kaz stream, but something happened, some difficulties, technical difficulties. So Kaz is here. So this is today. So far is especially between me and Kaz, and then later, after Kaz goes, or he want to finish, then I can share the link. Everybody else can call in. Yes, please, Kaz.
okay. So I would like to talk about peace.
Yes, please.
It seems to me that the idea of peace in the Quran is centered around the concept of submission. Is that your understanding?
No.
Okay, then let me understand yours first.
Okay, yes. Let me read for you. Quran chapter 60 verse 8 says that, that Allah, chapter 60 verse 8 says, Allah does not forbid you from those who do not fight you because of religion, and do not expel you from your homes, from being righteous towards them and acting justly towards them. Indeed, Allah loves those who act justly. Okay. And there are many verses that I can read for you, for example, about Christian and Jews, that how we have to treat them, like chapter 29 verse 46, and do not argue with the people of the scripture except in a way that is best, except for those who commit injustice among them, and say, we have faith in which has been revealed to us and revealed to you, and our God and your God is one, and we are Muslims in submission to him. And many other verses, that is universal, like chapter 49 13. Chapter 49 verse 13 says, and this is about mankind. It is about you as well, Kaz. It's about everybody. It's not about Muslims. It says, oh mankind, indeed we have created you from male and female, and made you peoples and tribes, that you may know one another. Indeed, the most noble of you in the sight of God is the most righteous of you. Indeed, Allah is knowing, all aware. About fighting, for example, that people usually bring up. God says in the Quran that fighting is only as long as they fight you. Okay, here, chapter 8, verse 61. And if they incline to peace, then incline to it also, and rely upon Allah. Indeed, it is He who is the hearing, the knowing. Chapter 2, verse 190. Fight in the cause of Allah only against those who wage war against you, but do not exceed the limits. Allah does not like the transgressors. Okay, so and there are many other verses. Okay, that after it says you fight, yeah, but it says if they stop fighting, you stop fighting too, because Allah doesn't want us to fight. Okay, and even in the what is it? The history of this Islam, when Prophet Muhammad was fighting, first of all, 13 years he didn't fight. He even ran away when they were going to kill him. So when he went to Medina and they continued to attack them, then Allah gave them this order that fight only against those who fight you, and fight as long as they fight, because Allah does not like those who transgress. So, and then after several battles, when the pagans, they realized that they can't defeat Muslims, so they came up with a peace agreement, ceasefire agreement, and Prophet Muhammad took it right away, a 10-year ceasefire agreement, because he knew in peace he can become stronger and he can spread the message. And that's why after that, even the enemy, everybody after that, they converted to Islam, and he could conquer Mecca without any fighting, because he became so strong. So that's why there is not a single verse in the Quran that allows us to fight innocent people, or those who are peaceful, those who do not attack us. All right. And that's because of the story of Prophet Muhammad. I understand that fight is not the first option, it is the last option. We have
so
to.
Can you explain to me the jizya?
All right, yes, jizya, the chapter 9 verse 29. Let's read it together. Okay, or you want to bring it up? Maybe I can bring it up, whatever you want. Okay, let me see. Google Islam awaken. I go to a translation as well, multiple translation. Okay, let me see why it is like this. This Islam awaken happened. All right. Okay, let me then go to something has happened to this Islam awaken. Okay, 29. Quran 9:29. Okay, here. All right. So I share it with you. Present screen. Here it is. Okay, so it says, fight those who do not believe in Allah and the last day, nor comply with what Allah and his messenger have forbidden, nor embrace the religion of the truth from among those who were given the scriptures. So it is from among those who were given scriptures, until they pay the tax, willingly submitting, fully humble. Okay, so now this is a wrong translation, because it doesn't say those who do not believe in God and the last day, because it is about people of the scripture. Here is given scripture, so it is about Christian and Jews. Okay, not a single Christian or Jew say I don't believe in God and the last day. Okay, every single Christian and Jew say we believe in God and the last day. So it is not believe, it is faith. In Arabic, it is here. This is believe they have written, but it is, sorry, let me see. No, it is Ya'minun, Ya'minun. Yes. Okay, yeah, it is the same. Yeah, believe, but it is Iman in Arabic, which is means faith. Okay, so these are among, when I say fight among Americans, those among Americans who are racist, am I talking about all Americans, Kaz? Or I'm talking about,
not.
Sorry?
Probably not, no.
No, because I say among Americans. Fight those among Americans who are racist. So it is a portion of Americans. And if you go to chapter 3, verse 100, because this is absolutely about people of the book. And verses before, after is all about people of the book. It's not about atheists or pagans or whatever. Then, especially when we go to chapter 3, verse 113, and 14 and 15, we see also there Allah distinguished, says chapter 3 verse 113, 14 and 15 says, not all of them are alike. Of the people of the book are a portion that stand for the right. They rehearse the verses of God all night long, and they prostrate themselves in adoration. They have faith. Here is faith in God and the last day. They enjoin what is right and forbid what is wrong. And they hasten in emulation in all good works. They are in the ranks of the righteous. And whatever good they do, never will it be removed from them. And Allah is knowing of the righteous. So here we see that it is distinguished between good Christian and bad Christian. And here also 929 is about a portion of Christian and Jews who do not have faith in God and the last day. And because they don't have faith in the God and the last day, they do something which is forbidden, and they do it, that forbidden thing. Which when we go to chapter 9 verse, continuing to chapter 9 verse here 34, few verses later, it says that, O believers, indeed many rabbis amongst consume people's wealth wrongfully and hinder others from the way of Allah. Give good news of a painful torment to those who hoard gold and silver and do not spend it in Allah's cause. So these people, like in the Renaissance time, by swallowing people money, they were pushing people away from the way of God, which unfortunately they did it in Europe as well. And even they do it in my home country now, in Iran. These mullahs of Iran, they rob people, and millions of Iranians, they have become atheists because they think, oh, this is Islam, So these people, it is not only about Christian and Jews. Anybody who do such a thing under the name of God and, push away people from God, then we have to fight them and stop them from this, robbing people, fooling people. So this jizya is not, and there is no any, if it is like some people say it is tax. If it is tax, then it should say how many percent every year, every month. It doesn't say. So this is a one-time compensation, and it is not about all Christian and Jews. It's about a portion of Christian and Jews. So it says, fight those among people of the scripture who do not have faith in God and the last day, and because of that, they do not forbid what is forbidden, okay, by God and his messenger. Yes. You are muted.
It doesn't have any guidance, right, as far as how much, the percentage, frequency, anything like that, right?
No.
So it's up to the Islamic State in power to decide what the jizya will be, right? There's no argument that you could make. Like, let's say that the jizya is 100% of your property. Could you argue that that's wrong? How could you argue that that's wrong?
All right. So as I said, it is, first of all, it is about those who swallow people's money unjustly, okay, because they do something which is forbidden. And I said it is not about all Christian and Jews, okay, so they are not going to pay jizya, those who are good Christian and Jews. So it is about those who do not forbid something which is forbidden. And I rule up for you a few verses later, I explained what is that is forbidden, that they do not forbid. They take people's money, like like they fool them. They say, we sell the land in paradise to you. Or this, now we see in USA, these preachers, they say, I saw the guy who is there is a preacher who is go to the stage and say, like this, I cure you, have you seen that guy? Is look like a devil as well, the guy. He, Zach, Kaz, what he did, there was a couple, Hindu couple, who converted to Christianity, and their son had a tumor cancer. So he brought that son, he was 13 years old. He brought him on the stage.
Who are we talking about?
There is a guy in USA, he's a preacher. He's very rich as well. I heard he has $300 million. He has a private jet. He said that Jesus.
Kenneth Copeland?
I think so. He looks like a devil, He said, yes. And the guy, Kaz, he said to the child that, oh, I command Jesus that you get cured and so on. After 3 months, the child died. And the parents, it was a documentary I was watching, and the parents, they were disappointed. They said, this guy charged us $2,000 for these. Can you imagine? So these people, are those who, push people away from the way of God. Okay, because these Hindu family, they believed. Okay, and this could make them disbelieve. So that's people. These people are what 929. And I told you, Cass, we have no right to fight anybody. Chapter 60, verse 8. Anybody who do not fight us, we have no right at all whatsoever. Okay, there are so many verses in the Quran that Allah says that uh, prophets' duty was only to deliver the message. Let me read for you.
I'm going to talk about the forbidden stuff. There's a lot of
Okay.
things that are forbidden in Islam, right?
Yeah, like okay, like what?
Well, we talked about alcohol last time.
Okay, yes.
What about immodesty or promiscuity?
Okay.
Certain things that, from my perspective, one might be it may not be the most moral thing, but it would
Okay.
still be at least allowable as far as individual rights are concerned. That's just
Okay.
something that I'm concerned with.
Okay. Like, can you
Like, for instance,
explain?
let's say that somebody wants to be promiscuous and have many sexual partners.
Okay.
Is
All
that
right.
not forbidden?
Look, that's forbidden. Okay, but
Right.
Kaz, it is up to you. All right, and between you and those women and God. It is not up to me to come, as long as you don't harm the society, you don't harm anybody. Okay, nobody is going to complain. Okay, take you to the court. As long as it's not going to happen, then it is not up to us to because here chapter 88 verse 21 to 26 says, "O Muhammad, remind, you are only reminder, you are not over them a controller. Whoever turns away and continues to do kufr, which is bad deeds." Okay, kufr is not disbelief or bad deeds. Okay, that Allah will punish him with the greatest punishment. Indeed, to us is return. Then indeed upon us is their account. It's not up to me or Prophet Muhammad or anybody else to punish you for what you did. Okay, chapter 109 verse 6, for you is your religion and for me is my religion. Chapter 5 verse 92, uh, and obey Allah and obey the messenger and be aware, uh, and if you turn away, then know that upon our messenger is only their responsibility for clear notification only. All right. So as long as I said, there are many, many verses that I can read for you, Kaz. But as long as you don't harm the society, okay, like attacking anybody and so on. So these things are your what is it? Private life, okay. And
Okay.
yes, I cannot harm you or punish you. Yes, Cass, please.
For instance, your example with Kenneth Copeland. Would you agree that the Bible does not endorse his behavior?
The guy, yes, the guy, yes.
The way he behaves is not biblical.
No. I mean the true Christianity. I say always that the true Christianity would not allow such a things. No,
No.
I
Okay.
don't believe.
You have the Bible, you have the Quran,
Okay.
you have people like Kenneth Copeland, and you have
Hmm.
people like you.
Okay.
On all these different hands. And I'm wondering how you don't see that when what you're doing here,
Hmm.
it's good. I think
Yeah.
that
Thank
you
you.
are doing a good thing, a
Thank
service
you.
to Islam and the world,
Yes. Thank
in
you.
your reinterpretation. But the problem is you are stuck
Hmm.
referencing this source material that is
Okay.
so broad and so easily reinterpreted, just as
Okay.
Kenneth Copeland is doing. He's
Okay.
able to take the same the Bible that Martin Luther King believed in.
Okay.
That Martin Luther King held that Bible and stood on that and fought for rights for people for his entire life until his death.
Hmm.
And Kenneth
Okay.
Copeland takes that exact same Bible and uses it
Hmm.
to scam people, right?
Yes.
The
Okay.
And the Quran is no different in that way. You yourself
Okay.
are embroiled in this battle with
Hmm.
extremists, with
Hmm. Yes.
people who are very orthodox or whatever, and
Hmm.
you're trying to fight this battle to reinterpret something that
Okay.
is inherently easily reinterpreted. And I'm
Okay.
wondering if your time would not be better spent trying to define and discover the true nature of goodness instead of trying to refer to this old version of somebody's attempt.
Okay. Because I it is not only reinterpret something in the Quran, because as you were watching previous conversation, I believe that the source of what that Kenneth, what was his surname, Kenneth guy, yeah, that that
Mhm.
preacher, what he's doing, and millions of other people on this planet, fooling people, killing people, all of them are, the source of all of them is the system that allows them to become richer by such a things. Okay, so I am trying to convince people that God wants us to live in an equal world, okay, where money doesn't exist and people don't they don't have any reason to do such a things, to fool people, to kill people, to sell drugs, to sell alcohol. I know that you might think that, okay, drinking a little bit alcohol maybe is not bad, okay, but the thing is that alcohol kills over 1 million people in the world, because alcohol companies, they make billions of dollars from selling alcohol, and drug as well, cigarette, all of this. So when people don't have this this possibility, or this uh, opportunity to become richer by selling drugs, by selling cigarettes, alcohol, and weapons, selling weapons, or human trafficking, because you know that is $150 billion a year, human trafficking. All these things, all right, all these things are because of this jungle system that allows people to become richer by such a bad deeds. So I'm
Yeah, like I
fighting for.
said, I'm aligned with you to
Yeah,
a
yeah.
very, very strong degree on your
Yeah.
the application of your morals. I
Yes.
think
Thank
that
you.
we are allies
Mhm.
in a lot of different ways. I am 100% for the
Yes.
abolition of money, of
Yes.
usury,
Yes.
of inequality.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the problem is, and there's no problem between you and I, as far
Yeah.
as that goes.
Yeah.
Between
Very
you and
good.
I, we
Thank
are
you.
on the same page.
Yeah.
I want to help you with your mission in that
Yeah. Thank you.
regard. Okay.
Thanks a lot.
Um, the problem I see that you have is that
Mhm.
the Quran and the Hadith say what they say, and people can then read it how they want.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, Kaz, I have to say that I have said it also again. I have to say that if I was born 100 years ago, and even maybe today in Afghanistan, in a village in Afghanistan, I would be Taliban. I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you about such a beautiful, version of Islam. I would say that you are a kafir, you will go to hell. Okay, so I
Mhm.
believe that it is the time that we can, wake up people, and that's why these extremists, they are afraid of me. They block me because they know that I can expose them. I can destroy their backward stupid ideology, okay, and I can bring up beautiful things from Islam, okay, and I believe that without Islam I cannot reach, humanity cannot reach that world which we were talking now about, okay, that money doesn't exist and people just share everything with each other, love one another, okay. So I believe that it cannot be possible. That's why I'm trying to do it through Islam. But I've said it many times. I would be glad if Marxism could do it, if another ideology could do it. Okay, I would be glad. I'm sure that the God I know, he wouldn't be, angry, or he would be very happy, because all messengers came to help us, to guide us to a better world. That was their main reason that they came. Not that, oh, hey guys, I'm here, please worship me. I'm alone, It wasn't the meaning of sending messengers. The meaning of sending messengers was to guide us to a better world. And the final messenger came with this final message that, let me see, somebody, in the chat, somebody say zina 100 lashes. I don't know, Michael. Okay, Michael is writing for me. But look, I've said it, this one as well in the past, my Kaz, that certain things, like there is a verse in the Quran as well that says that an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, a life for a life, a wound for a wound. These things came 1400 years ago, and 3500 years ago actually it came, okay, when if you took my eye, Kaz, at that time I would kill your entire family, okay. So God came, said, because it said that, oh, no, 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 don't do that, okay. An eye for an eye. Okay, so this was a much better alternative to what people were doing. Okay, and in the verse, God says that if you forgive, it's better for you. So He put this option as well. He wants us to forgive. All right. So these things like lashing, okay, lashing was an alternative to stoning adulterers that pagans were doing, Cass. They were stoning adulterers to death. And God said, Jesus said, no, the one who has no sin cast the first stone. Islam said, no, 100 lashes, but bring 4 witnesses, cast. And then these witnesses, cast, you cannot find a single of them because they have to complete 10 conditions. Never have lied, never have forgotten their prayer, never have broken their fasting, never have stolen anything. You know, all these things, the same thing that Jesus said, that they have to be innocent themselves and they must have seen the actual. So it is impossible that you bring, 4 witnesses and then you do these, lashes. But it's supposed he has to say something for these people that want to stone her to death. They want to stone her to death. He cannot say, okay, let them go, forgive them. It is impossible to say to such a people. All right. So it has to be like Jesus, peace be upon him, the one who has no sin cast the first stone. He has to say that. But we understand that he didn't want that people do
Why
that.
didn't he cast the first stone?
Yes, why he didn't cast the first stone? Because he was the innocent one. Because he didn't want that people do that. As I said, read for you, Allah says that we are not the one who must, punish people. We are not the right judge. Their account is on God. Yes, please.
What I see happening here is it's a progression from one state of being to a more perfect version. We see, like when Noah, when his day, they were sacrificing children right and left. He came out and said, don't do that no more. Right.
Okay.
Then you had Moses with all of his laws. Then Jesus comes and refines them. You guys come and with Muhammad, and you've refined some of Jesus's laws. What we're seeing here is people critiquing the status quo and finding ways to improve upon it. And it's a subjective thing. It's not perfect. That's why some of the improvements aren't really improvements, and some of them are. What we have here is the progression towards this ideal, which may not actually exist. It may not actually be attainable to create a perfect world in any kind of way, but it's a thing that is so lofty and has so many different benefits in the interim that it's worth pursuing anyways. So when you see that progression in history, you must recognize that you are part of that progression as well. What you are doing right now is the same thing, because the Muslims that followed Muhammad himself don't believe as you did. No. They don't have the exact same theology that you do, the same eschatology. You're improving upon it. You are witnessing how those teachings affected the world that they lived in, how that affected the world that you live in now. And you're saying, I can do better. Now, maybe you're not saying that conscientiously, but you are. You are doing better. And that should show you that that's what they did, that's what you're doing, and that's what the next people will do as well. There will be next generation that will come along, look at what you've written and say, you know what, we can do better. Yes. And that's a good thing. But if we get stuck, if we commit ourselves to your ideology, to my ideology, to anybody else's, we can't progress. We can't say, maybe we had it wrong back then. Maybe we can do a little bit better. And if we can't even think that we can do better, we never will.
Okay. Yes. Just I have to say, first of all, about that you said it is impossible, that ideal world. I always say that because I always say because we believe that Quran is the miracle of Prophet Muhammad. And what is miracle? Miracle is making possible the impossible. So what is impossible is that equal world, that everybody love one another, everybody share everything with each other. That's impossible in reality, because even I look at it, I say it is impossible. But that's what become miracle, to make possible the impossible. And Quran says, finally, my righteous people will rule and inherit the planet. Okay, so this is a promise in the Quran that finally everybody will become righteous on this planet. So another thing is that about people of the past were around Prophet Muhammad. This is the closest companion of the Prophet, which was Ali radiallahu. He was his cousin, and the fourth caliph of Islam. He wrote to his governor of Egypt. He said, his name was Malik. Malik, kindness, forgiveness, and loving the people should be your priority, and do not attack them like a wild animal, because people are two groups. One is those who are your brothers and by religion, and one those who are your brothers by creation. People do bad deeds because of different reasons, intentionally or by mistake, but you forgive them as you expect that your God forgives your bad deeds. You are stronger than the people who put you there, sorry, than the people, but remember that the one who put you there is stronger than you, and the God is stronger than the one who put you there. The worst people for you must be those who try to reveal people's mistake and sins, because people make mistakes and sins and the governor is the one who must cover them. Do not try to find people's mistakes, because your duty is to fix the problem that lead people to bad deeds, and it is God's right to judge people, not yours. The one which I told you, Kaz. Cover people's mistake and sins as much as you can, so that God covers yours. Okay, so the same thing that I say always, that we have to rehabilitate people. Yeah, there shouldn't be jail, because we usually by mistake punish people, wrongfully, or even execute them, and later we realize that this person was innocent. So we have to try to fix the problem that lead people to such a things. Okay, the problem, and I said, is the jungle system that guide people, sometimes force them, like human trafficking, take these women by force and then force them to prostitution. Okay, those women, they don't want to do that, but they are forced to do that. Okay, so you cannot take that woman and punish her. Okay, so I say like this, that we have to get rid of the disease, not the patient. Yeah, Kaz, please.
Okay, let me take it to a slightly different direction just to see how this all works together.
Mhm.
As you're talking, I'm trying to think of a way to get us on the same moral page, or at least see
Okay.
where we're wrong,
Yes.
where we differ.
Okay.
And I'm wondering how you react to trans rights.
Okay. All right. I believe that also that's immoral. Okay, and that's also
Transgenderism is immoral, is in your opinion?
yes. In my opinion, is immoral, because we are created, by
Male
God.
and
We
female.
are, yes, male and female, and we are not, Kaz. We are not. I say we are not animals. We are human. Okay, we're supposed to be human, and that's human is not a form. Human is a way of life. Okay,
What
that
is the definition of animal to you?
animal, definition of animal is, for me, is that they don't have any rules, they don't have any morality, they don't have any guidance, they don't believe in anything. Okay, so they
So
can do
you're
whatever.
using a philosophical version of the definition of the word. What
Yes,
about
yes.
the biological definition, the
Biological.
scientific
So,
definition of
okay,
animal?
so all right,
Are we
can,
animals by that definition?
yes, I
Okay.
mean that, yeah, because we are like all animals. The only difference is that we are smartest. That's all. Okay, and
Okay.
yes,
Okay.
but and we
So
are selfish. We can, but we, Kaz, we have to. That make us not animal. The belief make us not animal. The
what is your
rules.
understanding of how gender forms in humanity? How do you understand the biology of male and female?
Uh, that one I'm not so educated in. Okay, how
That's
it will
fine.
be.
Do you think that
Yes.
Muhammad was educated in it? Do you think that did God ever mention to him how he created the gametes and the chromosomes and all that stuff?
Chromosomes, I don't think so, because it is not, maybe he was telling him, but it is not in the Quran, at least. Okay, I don't know about that, but
Right.
what I'm saying is that God says in the Quran that this is immoral, that you do that, when you have a woman, then you do with men. Okay, so this this type. But another thing is that, Kaz, now, for example, I see in the West, okay, that they make this homosexuality like a must. Okay, they promote it a lot. Okay, I don't know, you're muted, or I didn't hear you. Yeah, so anyway, they have made it as the biggest problem in the world. Okay, and okay, you hear me?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you last said. I can hear you now.
Okay,
What was
now
that?
you hear
What you
me.
said right before you said biggest problem in the world?
Yes. I say the West and yeah, this system make it the biggest problem in the world, and they all the time talking about this. You know, what do you call it? H, G, what is it?
Gender.
Gender, yeah, gender problem and so on. And
Well, we don't have to make it the biggest problem in the world, but we can at least address it. I mean,
yes. Anyway,
it is a
yes,
problem.
yeah, it is a
So
problem, but the thing is that they promote it all the time and say that, oh, you can even in Sweden, Kaz, in the schools, they teach children to try it. Okay, can you imagine? They say try it.
try
It's
it.
good. Yeah,
I'd like
I
to see
tell you.
an example of that.
Yeah, there was a mother who said that I know in school they told to his child that it is you can try it. It's
The
not
people
a
that I associate with, we take a hands-off approach when it comes to something like this. We don't want to force a child to conform or to dictate to a child what their identity is going to be. It's not like try being transgender or anything like that. It's just basic tenets of tolerance and non-bigotry.
okay.
Not trying to force a child to be anything, straight or
But they
trans
do
or
it
anything like
here.
that.
They do it here.
Well, that I would disagree with. That's not
Yeah,
the right
yeah.
way to go
I
about
was
it.
because I'm working in school. There was a 6-year-old child. We were going to the school gym, and children lined, boys to boys dress room and girls to girls dress room, and then there was a girl stood in the boys uh, queue. I said, this is for boys, and he said, I'm a boy, 6-year-old child. She was, or he was dressed exactly like a girl. It was exactly like a girl. Okay, everything. And I was okay. Sorry, I was very shocked that they dress like that. Their children from childhood, they persuade them that you are, a girl, or if the girl is persuade that you are a boy. So there are such a things, and that's what I absolutely am against. And there, finally, because it is their judgment, I'm not going to force them to anything. Their judgment is, I just can preach that it is not good. Okay, but it is their judgment is not with me, it is with God. I'm not going to punish anybody for that. Okay.
Okay, well, the children aside,
Okay.
well, I think that we were probably not too far off when it comes to the
Mm.
children. Maybe we are. I don't know.
Okay.
It seems like maybe you are a little bit further down the line than I am. I
Mhm.
definitely don't agree that any child should be forced into anything,
Okay.
being cisgendered or transgendered. They shouldn't be manipulated or coerced. It should just
Yes,
be
exactly.
they should be presented with the facts of reality and then
Okay.
be allowed to choose their identity from there. I believe
Yeah.
in freedom, and I believe that people's freedom begins and ends where others people's begins and ends. So that
Okay.
way, if you're doing something that doesn't hurt anybody else, then I
Mhm.
don't care at all.
Okay. All right.
Right?
Yes.
That's my philosophical position. But the
Yes.
question is like, does transgenderism,
Mhm.
is it a valid identity? Does it exist in the real world as a biological reality? Are you saying that these people are sick in the head, or that there's some kind of mental problem, or do you accept the reality of transgenderism as a biological or socio
Yeah.
phenomenal?
Okay, Kaz, I believe that there are maybe 1 or 2, 3, maybe percent of them. Yes, they are biological. They have more hormones of the opposite gender. Okay, I know, I've seen, yes, that they from childhood they are like that. Okay, so they are created like that, and these people, yeah, can be helped. Okay, to which gender they like to go, for example, give them more hormones of that gender. But most of it is, I believe that this is the disease of the society. Okay, because for example, Kaz, in my home country, okay, before revolution, I didn't see these things, transgender and such things. After the revolution, when the ayatollahs start to oppress people, during revolution, Kaz, everybody, all young people, everybody were so up, how do you say it, so involved in politics. Okay, millions of youth, I was myself. Okay, but when the the regime start to oppress and kill, execute all these things, people run away home. And then now the new generation, they don't have, that freedom to engage in politics and such things. So they go for everything, drug, alcohol, homosexuality, and it has spread a lot. Okay, these things and many other things. So I believe that the society form that also help it to spread, to become more as well. The system.
Okay, but it's just because something spreads quickly doesn't make it bad, right?
Okay.
Not necessarily.
All right, but
right?
as I said, yes, no. I mean, that something has made it to spread. Okay, something has.
But that doesn't make it bad. Why is it bad? What hurts anybody else?
Okay.
What is that's what we're trying to get to, right? Because
okay,
ultimately, if we're going to work together to build a society, we're going to have to share some kind of language, right? And when it comes to something like harm or good, we definitely need to understand each other on that one. So, if you think that something's harmful and I don't, we need to hash that out.
Okay, but is it, Kaz, is it good? You said good or bad. Is it good? If it is good, then everybody should do that. Do you think it's good that everybody should do that?
If it's good, then everybody should do that.
Mm-hmm.
That is that is part of the definition of good for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And if it is bad, nobody should do it.
Yes, if it is bad, nobody should do it. Yes, exactly.
So what about the things that some people should do and some people shouldn't? Are there things like that?
I mean, no, if there is something good that everybody should, I mean, I don't come to a good example now that something that is
it's difficult, right? Because when you get into the minutia and you dig into any specific detail of a good thing, it doesn't really work, right? Because let's say tilling your garden is good, right? But I don't have a garden, so I shouldn't be tilling a garden, right?
Yeah. Can I say like this, Kaz? Is it good to eat dogs and cats?
Is it good to eat dogs and cats? Probably not.
No. I mean, but for Chinese, it's good. They like it. So I don't care.
Is it good to eat pigs and cows? Probably not.
Yeah. Pigs. Okay. So, this thing.
Is it good to eat birds, lizards, spiders? Not necessarily any of those things, right?
No, yes. Not necessarily. But the thing is that we cannot be without meat and, food and so on. So we are human and we are created to have meat. But for, there are certain things, laws that should be, how to say, should be not imposed, but written by somebody like the government, okay, or God, okay. In this case, God. Like, for example, as I said, don't eat dog and cats, okay, and bats and so on. Such a things. Eat only from this and this meat, okay. But they shouldn't be forced. Yes, I believe that they shouldn't be forced. If somebody wants to eat it, the only duty we have is to tell them that no, this is not good. You don't need to eat dogs. You don't need to eat cats. Okay, you can eat cows and lamb, but you don't need to eat dogs and cats and other things that they eat there. Okay,
what's the difference?
This is what is the difference? Because yes, why? Because they are not, for example, cats. They are not for us. It is difficult to explain for me because I don't know if
there is no difference.
There is some differences. For example, in Islam,
a pig is smarter than a cat.
Yeah. Yes. A pig. Yes. Pig. Yes. But the pig. Why we don't eat pig is because I believe that pigs' pigments are like human. Okay, and we know that the only animal that you can transplant the organ to human is pig. So that's why I used to eat pigs before I become Muslim, but later I found out that it is because of that. So I stopped eating pork anymore.
I mean, pig is probably not a great example because Islam already bans that one. But
yes,
you do eat cow, right?
Sorry,
I don't know for sure how smart cows are, but I have a sneaking suspicion that when we actually dig into it, we're going to find that cows are a lot smarter than we think.
Okay, all right. No, it's not about they are smart or not. It is about that our body needs these, red meat, white meat, fish. Our body needs that. Okay, but God says that you don't need to eat anything moves. Okay, just here, these types of animals, you can, if you can get them, you can eat these types of animals, not every animals, okay? Because it is not really moral to, to eat everything that moves. All right, we don't need to do that. Okay, if we need, and then even in the Quran, Kaz, even pig, okay, if you have to, if you are hungry and you're dying of hunger, you can eat it for your own safety. All right. But if you have other possibilities, other options, then you should choose those other options like cow and, lamb.
I mean, certainly there are foods that if you eat them, they will kill you or make you
Hmm.
sick or
All
just
right.
generally degrade your health, right?
Okay.
But that the correlation between that and the biblical or the Quranic or any other religious dictates, they're
Hmm.
not really obvious. I mean,
Hmm.
that would be quite a miracle, I would say, if you could demonstrate that every single unhealthy thing was banned by a specific religion 10,000 years before it was found out to be unhealthy. That would be interesting to say.
Hmm.
But for instance, cows, they're not banned by Quran, but red meat
No.
causes heart disease, doesn't it?
Mhm. Uh, okay, if you have it, uh, too often, and then it is, when your age is like over 60, is not so good to have it. But sometimes you have to have it, okay, because our body need it. There are vitamins in that our body need it, but it doesn't cause if such a things if
I mean,
young people can have it without any problem. Okay.
if we were so motivated to, we could get all the protein and nutrition that we needed from farming insects. We don't need
Yeah.
to eat cows at all.
No, no, that's okay. Yes, I know. Yeah, but this is actually, this is when we don't have those things. Okay, and we need it. Okay, that's my understanding, that our body, uh,
We
like
need
our
meat,
body. Yeah,
but
we need meat.
insect
Yes.
meat can be meat too, right?
Yes, yes, but the thing is that Quran came.
Rodents.
Yes, Quran came 1400 years ago, and those times there were not such a things. Okay, and even today we don't have enough for 8 billion people on the planet. Insect, and of
I mean,
course,
I'm not trying to argue about the minutia of it. I really want to get to the core of the issue, which is like, how do
okay,
we know
all right,
what is right and wrong?
okay,
When the new things happen, like AI is coming out, right? We've got,
yeah, yeah,
and who knows what new world that will create. We're going to have fusion technologies and space exploration, all these other new things that Muhammad certainly never even thought of.
okay,
How do we navigate the coming world using the Quran? Because
okay,
if it's not adequate to answer these questions,
yeah, yeah,
how we deal with veganism, how do we deal with transgenderism, how do we deal with all these other things? And
hmm,
the reason why I brought up transgenderism in the first place is because now that we have the scientific understanding, we know that people do not actually come in just X, Y, and XX. There are
hmm,
many other ways that we can come in, and that's how you're born, i.e., how God made you.
hmm,
If there can be such a vast variety of
hmm,
gender in with only two different chromosome what do you call it configurations, then how are we to ever say what is right or what is wrong when it comes to the biological reality of what God made? Clearly, whoever wrote the Bible or the Quran or any other religious text had no idea what gametes were. They had no
hmm,
idea what chromosomes were, and now we know what they are. We know how they work. We can see them operating. We see that people are born with two X chromosomes, two Y chromosomes, whatever it is, right? It's insane how many
hmm,
different things that it can actually happen. And that's just the obvious stuff, right? We don't
hmm,
even know how many other genes are incorporated in this whole system or which ones are like we're so far from any kind of real understanding. And it's like the
hmm,
more you know you don't know. And that's the
hmm,
difference between people today and people back then. Back then, they didn't know that much, so they didn't know that they didn't know that much. They
hmm,
thought they knew a lot more than they really did. But we have so
yeah.
much more knowledge, and now we know we don't know anything.
Okay. Yeah, I know that we don't know much. Okay. Yes. In some cases, we don't know anything. Okay. But the thing is that, as I said, for me, some moral, guidance should be, because if we don't follow, a specific moral guidance, then we can go to any direction we want. Okay. Somebody can, say that I want to have sex with animals. Okay. Somebody can say, I want to have, marry my daughter, my mother and all these things. So there should be some kind of uh,
There is, though, but there is.
moral
With both of
standard.
those things, with both of
Okay.
those things, I can point to a specific harms that they do.
Mhm.
Right?
Okay.
In order for a parent or a sibling to
Mhm.
engage in incest with their family member, there by necessity there is some kind of unhealthy dynamic going on there.
Okay. Yes.
Somebody is being limited in an unhealthy way, in a way that is against their own free will. They don't have
Okay.
the free will to explore the world in a realistic kind of way. They are being forced into a situation where their only option is to consider this
Mhm.
family member as a sexual partner, right?
Okay.
That is not fair to them. There are all these other billions of people out there for you to mix your genes with. Why are you being forced to mix it with somebody who's right next to you, is identical to you, increasing the risk that you'll have a deformed child or have some other genetic issue, right? The reality itself, when we take harm as the rubric, reality itself dictates what we should go,
Mhm.
because
Mhm.
harm is a real thing. We feel it,
Okay.
we
Okay. If it
experience
doesn't
it, and we share
harm,
that.
if it doesn't harm, for
If it
example,
doesn't harm, it doesn't harm.
we are advanced. Okay, we are advanced, and we can make sure that their child doesn't comes healthy. We today we can even choose the color of eye, the child's eye. So we are so advanced, and we can become more advanced. Then should be okay that mother and son marry, or father and daughter, or brother and sister. I don't believe that that's okay. That's not moral. That's what distinguish us
I
between.
agree. It's not moral
Yes,
because
yes.
it does harm. It does harm. You are
Nobody, I
being
say, yeah.
coerced psychologically. You are being limited unfairly.
In which way?
There is harm there
Well,
in incest. Even if there's two lesbian sisters who cannot reproduce or whatever, they are still being forced. The situation that led to that is a harmful one.
Okay.
Right? They have been harmed. They've been
Uh,
psychologically harmed. They're unable to connect with people outside of their own genome.
okay.
That is a
Uh,
harm.
okay. That's. I think I believe in something, and you believe in something else, which is not. I mean, it's not me that who decide. Okay, I just can say, according me, this is not correct, and I said that that's what distinguish us from a human, from animals, is that we follow something, a moral guidance, and that moral guidance should be given to us, not by for example, Karl Marx, who the hell he is, for example, a human. Okay, who the hell is this guy that I have to listen? I do whatever I want. But if it is, we believe that there is a creator that says that this is wrong, that is right. Then we should we it would be easier for us to accept that. Okay, those things that we were talking about now. Otherwise, otherwise, as
I
I
mean,
said, otherwise it is not. We don't have any limit like the animals. Without any limit, they have no limit. Animals, no rules. They do whatever they want. Okay, that's distinguish us human to animals, I believe. Okay, yes, Kaz.
well, I mean, I think that's a very simplistic way to look at animal life. I mean, if you look at, like, for instance, a herd, or maybe not a herd. What is it called when it's lions? A pride of
Hmm.
lions.
Hmm.
There are certain behaviors that if you one of those animals engages in, they're going to get kicked out of their herd or killed.
Hmm.
Right?
Yeah, yeah.
We see that there are um, the it's a loose way to use the word moral, of course, but there is morality there. You see
Hmm.
that you can teach a dog not to poop in the house
Hmm.
very easily.
Yes.
Most people
Yes.
do it.
Okay. Yeah,
Now
I
they
know.
understand that this is wrong. I will not poop here.
Okay.
Right? I will
Yes.
poop there. So I
Okay.
mean, the concept of right and wrong, it's not so human centric, I
Okay.
think.
All right.
Um, and I'm just wondering how you're going to. Well, you know what? Let's just leave it there. Yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
All right. No, it's okay. I think we better more concentrate on uh, you know other things in the Quran that you might have, I hope that you were okay with the explanation of jizya, which I explained that it is not for, all Christian and Jews. It is a one-time compensation, okay?
Yeah, I'm
And
not
it
okay
is,
with that explanation. I'm sorry.
yes, yeah, very good. Sorry?
I'm not okay with that explanation. I don't see how you say that it's a one-time thing. Where do you get
Okay,
that from?
okay, because as I said, it is just for a portion of, people of the book. Okay, it is not for all people of the book. All right, and it is not just because they believe in Christianity. If it was because of they believed in Christianity or Judaism, then it should be imposed to all of them. Do you agree with me or not?
Yeah,
Yes.
but why is it one time? Why isn't it
Okay, no,
a
no.
monthly, daily, whatever it is?
Okay, why it
How do
should
you
be
know?
monthly? Okay, why should it be
No, why should it
monthly?
be? How do you know that it will be? If if
Because
uh,
yes,
if
yeah,
if
yeah, because
the Prince of Saudi Arabia decides that he wants to impose the jizya daily
mhm,
on any
daily.
people of the
To,
book living
okay,
in Saudi Arabia right
okay,
now,
all
how will
right.
you tell him he's wrong?
Because uh, why I would ask him why you want to impose on people of the book what they have done.
No, no. How
What
will
do you
you
think?
show him he's wrong? Like I understand that you don't agree. I don't agree.
Okay.
We both
Yes.
agree that he's wrong with if he does
Okay.
that. But
Okay.
how do we show him? How do we say, hey, look at this book that you say you believe in. This says you're wrong, so you should stop.
Okay. Because I say it doesn't say how many percent. Okay, and how often. It doesn't say. So he cannot make it up from his own mind. All right. And then I told you that few verse further, Allah says, what is their fault that you have to get from them jizya? Because they consume people's wealth unjustly. So that's their problem. That's their fault. Okay. And if somebody doesn't do that, if a Christian or Jew doesn't do that, you cannot get jizya from that Christian or Jew. You have to get jizya from that Mr. Kenneth or the others, okay, who have billions of dollars or millions of dollars. They charge people, they fool people. All right. So these are the people that you have to get jizya from them, the money that they have swallowed from people. And it is not only them, it is in
Anybody
Islam
who
as
does anything
well.
forbidden.
Yes, anybody who does such a things, fool people like the mullahs of Iran, they rob people. So you have to get that money. Otherwise, it is not because you are Christian and Jew, then you have to pay jizya. It's absolutely not. Because it said in those verses that I told you, 303, verse 113, 14, and 15, Allah distinguished them, said that not all of them are the same. A portion of them are good people, they are righteous people. And in 929 as well, it said, those people of the book. So when those people of the book means that a portion of them. And what they do is explained few verses later. Okay, they do something which is forbidden. What is that forbidden? Somebody said to me, there is this Trinity channel. Oh, it is pork. Uh, if it is pork and alcohol, all Christian and Jews do that. Not Jews, but Christians. Every Christian, they eat pork and they drink alcohol. So then it should be for all of them. But here we see that it says for a portion of them. Okay. So it's not because they eat pork or they drink alcohol. It's because they forbid something which is forbidden, and it is explained the same chapter, few verse further, that what they do, which take people
Oh, are you saying
away.
that because that it's because they are forbidden from themselves, and then so hypocrisy? Is that what you're talking about?
No, no, no. It's they do something forbidden, and that's what is
Like
forbidden.
for me, none of that stuff is forbidden. I can eat pork. I can
No, no, no,
do all
none
that
of
stuff.
them. Yes, and I told you,
I
Kaz.
can't hear you.
Yes.
What happened?
Do you hear me?
Oh,
Do you hear me? Hello, blood nail. I will explain about 434 also later. Okay, Kaz, you hear me now? Hello, hello. Do you hear me? Do you hear me, Kaz?
Yes, I
Hello?
can hear you. Okay.
Okay,
Can
very
you hear
good.
me?
Yes. Yes, I hear you now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yes, good. So, what I was saying now, yes, I said that it is, as I said, all Christian and Jews, as Christians, okay, Jews don't eat pork, yeah, but all Christians, they eat pork and alcohol. So it is not about that. If it was about that, then it would say, fight Christian and Jews, Kaz. It wouldn't say, because grammatically, we have to also understand when it say fight those Christian and Jews, okay, who do not forbid something, okay, then it is not all of them. And then the other verses distinguish them, said not all of them are alike. There are a good portion of them that do this and that and that. So we have to understand this is about a portion of Christian and Jews. So it is not about drinking alcohol and eating pork. It is about something that a portion of them do. Kaz, do you think that you know that all of Christians, they drink alcohol and eat pork? So, or somebody was saying that it's because they believe in Jesus is God. So all Christians believe Jesus is God. So it's not about that. It's about something, that they. I explained that it is in 934 that they consume people's wealth unjustly, okay, and they avert people away from God's way. So and then another thing is that, as I read chapter 60 verse 8, we have no right to fight those who do not fight us, Kaz, okay, whatsoever. To anyone who do not fight us and expel us from our home, we have no right to fight them, okay, just because they believe or they disbelieve in something. All right. And chapter 49, verse 13. O mankind, the best of you in the sight of Allah is the most righteous of you. So it doesn't matter what you believe in. If you are a good person, you are a righteous person, you do, good deeds, then nobody, you are, I have to read for you many other verses as well from the Quran. Please let me, good. Okay. Chapter 42, verse 23. Anyone who does good to others, we give more good for him in it. Anyone. Chapter 22, verse 37. Give good news to those who do good to others. Chapter 39, verse 10. Ultimate good awaits those who do good in this world. Chapter 28, verse 77. Do good to others as Allah has done good to you. Chapter 16 verse, chapter 6 verse 160. Whoever will come to Allah with a good deed shall have 10 times as much, and whoever will come to Allah with an evil deed shall be requited with no more than the like of it. They shall not be wronged. Chapter 16 verse 90. Indeed, Allah orders justice and good conduct and give to relatives and forbids immorality and bad conduct and oppression. He admonishes you, and that perhaps you will be reminded. So all of these verses, there are many, many more verses, is all about good deeds, only good deeds. So you do good deeds, nobody has the right to harm you. Nobody has the right to, even God is not going to punish you.
Yeah, I mean, that's all fine. Everybody likes goodness, I think.
Yeah. Yes,
You've heard of
yes.
main character, was it main character syndrome? Where people believe that they're the main character of their lives because they are. And everybody thinks that they're the good guy. Everybody. There is no such thing as somebody who thinks I'm the bad guy.
Yeah, but
I'm going to go out and just do evil stuff. They have
yes.
bad ideas of what is good. So the
Yeah.
question is, how does the Quran or the Hadiths define goodness itself? How can we identify goodness in novelty or badness, evil? How do we find out if something that is totally new that we've never heard of is good or bad based on the Quran? And does that work? Can we actually use that as a rubric for this kind of thing? Talking about doing good is easy. Anybody can say be a good person. The question is how. When you have conflicts, when you have these moral gray areas, when there are things that are not so clear, you're confused, how do you know that you're right?
Okay. All right. Quran explain as well many good deeds. Okay, like giving to orphans, taking care of needy, travelers, relatives. All these things are mentioned in the Quran. That these are good deeds. Okay, and here I read for you that oppression, okay, that oppression is also bad deeds. Certain things is in the Quran mentioned that these are bad deeds. All right.
Sure. I mean,
And swallowing people's wealth unjustly is bad. These type of things Quran explain that these are bad deeds. All right. So there are many, many other things that is explained and that's up to individual to understand that this is okay. This is a bad deed. That oppress other people is a bad deed. Okay, it is very obvious. Killing innocent people is a bad deed. All right, and be unjust is a bad deed. Okay, so these are things that the Quran explain, and it's up to people to accept it or reject it. All right, and their judgment is with God, not with us, with me. All
yeah,
right,
I mean,
somebody. Yeah,
go
somebody
ahead.
has asked. Yeah, somebody has asked about chapter 4, verse 34. Okay, if it's okay that I can explain that verse as well, because I don't know if he's still here or not. He was asking this long time ago. All right, chapter 4, verse 34. Let me 4:34. Okay, strike. Okay, so chapter 4, verse 34 says, men are providers of women by what Allah has given one over the other and what they spend from their wealth. So righteous women are devotedly guarding in the husband's absence what Allah have would have them guard. But those wives from whom you fear arrogance, first advise them, then if they persist, forsake them in bed, and finally leave them. But if they change their way, seek no matter against them. Surely Allah is the highest, the greatest. And next verse, 4:35 says, and in case you fear split between the two, then send forth a judge from his family and a judge from her family, in case they both are willing to act righteously. Allah will cause them to reach an agreement between them. Surely Allah is all aware, knowing, all aware. So this is because the Quran has used strike. Okay, then some people unfortunately think that strike is always beating. Okay, chapter 43 verse 5, strike is ignore. Shall we utterly ignore you because you are wanton fault? So this is chapter 4 verse 101. Strike is travel, and when you travel through the land, there is no blame upon you for shortening the prayer. So chapter 18 verse 11, strike is cover. So we cast over a cover of sleep over their ears within the cave for a number of years. Okay, so another one, strike is search. So why someone believe that chapter 4:34, exactly 4:34, talks the strike there is beat, because they think that a husband has the right to beat his wife. Okay, which is absolutely ridiculous to think that God would send his final messenger to say to do. For example, he sent a final messenger and tells us that don't pass the red light. Everybody knows that we don't have to pass the red light. Why should God send us? Otherwise, if he disagree with that, then he should send us a message that says pass the red light. Okay, not saying something that we are already doing. Men have been beating their wives throughout history, even today in 21st century. 3 months in lockdown in Mexico, 1,000 women were killed in domestic problem. Okay, so men have always been beating their wives. That's why some scholars realize that, okay, this, if it is beating, then it cannot be beating however you want. They say, okay, beat her with your toothbrush. Okay, so it is absolutely ridiculous, because next verse, Kaz said, if you fear, after beating or what, if you fear split between the two, then send forth a judge from his family and her family. God wants them to come together. In case they both are willing to act righteously, Allah will cause them to reach an agreement. So it is after he left her. It is not after he bet her. If beating was going to solve the problem, then this problem should already be solved. She sit home and shut her mouth, okay, and doesn't do anything. But we see here that she has the right to decide as well. That's why somebody has to come from her family as well and try to make them to come back together. For example, chapter 65, verse 6. Let the woman who are undergoing a waiting period, okay, this is it is a wife that I have been fighting and I have divorced it, okay, I don't want to live with her, okay, Kaz. So chapter 65, verse 6. Do you hear me, Kaz?
Yeah, you're talking about a wife that you want to.
Yes, this
you're
is
having a problem with.
yes, I have a problem with her. We are fighting. I don't want to live with her. I have divorced her, but I have to keep her 3 months in my home. Let the woman who are undergoing a waiting period live in the same manner as you live yourselves, in accordance with your means, and do not harass them with a view to making their lives a misery. And if they happen to be with child, spend freely on them until they deliver their burden. And if they nurse your offspring, give them their recompense, and take counsel with one another in fair manner about the child's future. And if both of you find it difficult that the mother should nurse the child, let another woman nurse it on behalf of him. So this is about a woman, a wife that I hate and I don't want to live with her. He's telling me to treat her so well and so nicely. But on chapter 4, verse 34, suddenly a wife that I'm living with, that for a minimum think that I'm going to beat her. Come on, this is ridiculous. This doesn't make sense at all. Okay.
So we touched on this the last time as well, and I think that I really need to harp on this for a moment because, like I said the last time, and I think I even said it this time too. I can totally accept that what you're providing me is a better version of rules than what came before it. Clearly, that's why it was compelling to those who saw it. They saw that this rule that you providing me to not beat my wife all crazy is better than to go ahead and beat my wife all crazy, right? Okay. But that doesn't mean that it's the right answer. The right answer is don't hit your wife ever.
Okay.
Ever.
So Kaz, yes.
Why
Kaz.
couldn't it just say that? Never hit anyone ever.
Yes, Kaz. The thing is that I say in the Quran, the words has been used many times in different way, and I read for you different verses of the Quran that strike can be also trouble, strike can be leave, strike can be cover. Okay, so strike has different meaning. Okay, why people take exactly on 434 that strike is hit your wife is because they think that you have to hit your wife. Okay, which is not. And I read for you some good scholar translated as leave her. Okay, these two ways didn't work. You talked to her, it didn't work. You separated your bed with her, it didn't work. Then leave her. That's all it says the Quran. And then next verse explain it. Okay, that families, they have separated. What you gonna do? Send
but
somebody.
Why the wriggle room?
Sorry.
What's the point of that little bit of wiggle room? That word? Why strike at all?
No,
why is that word there?
Okay, the thing is, I say that it is not heat, it is leave. It is not heat her, it is leave. Because in other verses as well, okay, it's not hitting the road. Hitting the road is trouble. You are not going to hit the road by foot, banging the road. Okay, you cover is also strike in the Quran. So you are not, it was understandable for people. Like today, I say, give me a hand, Kaz. Are you going to give me your physical hand? No, you understand that I'm asking for help. Okay, you ask me, okay, what do you need? You don't say, okay, come, I cut my hand and give it to you. So it should be understandable for you. Giving me a hand means that I need your help. Give me help. Okay. So back then also it was obvious for people that leave her. Okay. If somebody didn't understand it, would go and ask Prophet Muhammad. Because Quran say, oh Muhammad, we send you the book, you may explain it for people. If somebody didn't understand it, would say, oh Prophet, should I hit my wife? Or, he would tell him, no, it is leave her. So this is not.
Well, what if he said, can I hit my wife?
Sorry?
What if he didn't say should? What if he said can?
Of course, it is not permissible, because we have no right to, Salam alaikum, brother. We have no right to, to oppress. That's oppression. Because you are stronger, you cannot, beat your wife. That's oppression.
So you're saying that the word strike is not there. It's not strike at all.
No, I said that strike means not hit, but leave. Okay, that's what I'm saying. Let me read for you again. Several others. Why here is not strike, is not hit. Let me read. Chapter 43, verse 5. Strike is ignore. Shall we utterly ignore you because you are a wanton fault? Chapter 4, verse 101. Strike is travel. And when you travel through the land, so these are the chapter 18, verse 11, strike is cover. Chapter 20, verse 77, strike is search. Okay. And I read for you chapter 65, verse 6, how to treat a woman that I don't like to live with her. I cannot tolerate her. I have divorced her, but I have to, treat her in such a beautiful manner. And then suddenly, somebody tell me in 434, God says to beat my wife, that I'm going to live with her. No, it is not possible. All right.
Okay. So is this the mainstream interpretation?
No, it's not the mainstream, but there are.
How do the mainstream interpret it?
Some people, some mainstream interpret it in this way, that you have to beat her with a toothbrush. Okay. And then it doesn't have to make,
why do they think that?
Because they realize that it cannot be like this, that God allows you to beat your wife to death. Okay. And
sure. But you're arguing that the Quran, in context, the words don't say it's okay to hit your wife. If you take it, you're saying that if I read that verse in context, I should not read those words to say hit in any kind of way.
No, exactly.
That's your argument, right?
Yes, that's my
argument. So where do they get that from?
Because like, for example, Allah says in the Quran, Kaz, that the Jews try to tie Allah's hands. Their own hands is tied. Allah's both hands is open wide. So what they take is, they say that Allah has two hands, which Allah doesn't say hands. Allah says power, but he used hands, Kaz. But these people, they are so ignorant that say Allah has two hands. Quran says. But for example, Allah says in the Quran as well that don't put yourself in destruction with your own hands. That hand is not hand, real hand, is deed. Okay.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah.
Yes, it is metaphor. So these people don't understand, don't put the Quran in the context, the entire Quran, because the verses, Quran has precise verses and unspecific verses, Kaz. Okay. The precise verses are the foundation of the Quran, which is the most merciful and forgiving God. So we are follower of the most merciful and forgiving God. And most merciful and forgiving God says all those things about women that I read for you. And then by the way, there are many verses, by the way, Quran 33, verse 28, 29, 30, 31. O Prophet, say to your wives, if you should desire the worldly life and its adornment, then come, I will provide for you and give you a gracious release. But if you should desire Allah and his messenger and the home of the hereafter, then indeed Allah has prepared for the doors of good among you a great reward. O wives of Prophet, however, if you should commit a clear immorality, for her the punishment would be doubled twofold, and ever is that for Allah easy. And whoever of you devotedly obeys Allah and his messenger and does righteousness, we will give her her rewards twice, and we have prepared for her a noble privilege. Not a single word cast that, oh, Muhammad beat your wife. Okay, you see that even clear immorality, if she commit clear immorality, it's God that's going to punish her, not Prophet Muhammad. Quran chapter 66 verse 2 to 5 also is about Prophet's wife and nothing about beating them. Okay, so how come when Prophet of God, who is just, who is most knowledgeable, cannot hit his wife, and suddenly a stupid abusive man has the right to hit his wife? So, and then chapter 2 verse what is it? Okay, Kaz went. I don't know what happened. Let me see. Okay, I put the link so that if he want to join. Oh yeah, Kaz came back. Yes.
Oh, sorry about that.
Yeah, don't worry. Okay, so I have to read for you chapter 2 verse 231 as well. No, chapter 4 verse 119, 19, chapter 4 verse 19. Oh believers, it is not permissible for you to inherit women against their will or mistreat them. Kaz, look, or mistreat them, to make them return some of the dowry as a ransom for divorce, unless they are found guilty of adultery. Treat them fairly. If you happen to dislike them, you may hate something which Allah turns into a great blessing. Chapter 2 verse 231. If you divorce your woman and their waiting term is complete, either take them back kindly or let them go kindly. Do not take them back in order to only harm them or to take advantage of them. And anyone who does that sins against themselves. Do not mock God's revelation, but remember God's grace to you and what he revealed to you from the book and the wisdom through which the exhorts you. Be mindful of God and know that God knows everything. So all these verses, how to treat your wife, so beautiful, and then somebody take that verse, out of context and say, yes, it says beat your wife. And I said in all those verses about Prophet Muhammad's wives, not a single word that beat your wife, his own prophet.
Yeah.
Yes.
So as I said many times, it's obviously better than what came before it.
Yes.
I have a way of elucidating this for you. In the United States of America, our original Constitution claimed that black people were, I think it was 3/5 of a person.
Oh yeah.
You aware of this?
I know that they were, of course, discriminated. Yes. I don't know
they
exactly.
were considered. They actually gave a mathematical percentage of how much of a human being black people were. They called them 3/5 of a human being, right?
Okay. Yes.
3 out of 5. Okay. So if I come along and I say, black people are actually 4/5 human, not 3.
Yeah. Okay.
That's better than 3.
That's better. Yes, of course. Yeah. Definitely.
But it's still not correct.
No, it's not correct. But
that's how I see this in the Bible and in the Quran and in everything else. I see little increments where it's a little bit better than before, but it's still not correct. It's not divine. The fact that you could have all these rules for husbands and that it doesn't even address the wives in the same kind of way. It shows that the men are the ones that are in charge, the ones that have the responsibility and the accountability and everything like that. And even that is an inequality that is not acceptable, in my opinion.
All right. Okay. Now, Kaz, you have to understand as well that the time, it was even 100 years ago in Sweden, women didn't have the right to inherit. Okay. They didn't have any right even 100 years ago. But 1400 years ago, to get women even 50% rights was much, much better than nothing. Okay. And that was, of course, that was too early. We understand that we should understand that even people didn't believe they were going to kill Prophet Muhammad for such a things that he was saying. Okay. But the equality, okay, as I read for you, chapter 49, verse 13, Allah says, O mankind, indeed we have created you from male and female and made you peoples and tribes so that you know one another. Indeed, the most noble of you, who? Men and women. The most noble of you, men and women. Doesn't say men. Most noble of you in the sight of Allah is the most righteous of you. So it doesn't matter, you are a male or female. In the sight of Allah, you are equal. Okay? It is unfortunately in the sight of us that women are stupid. They are, they are slaves. We have to control them. They don't have to go out. This is people's mindset. But God is all the time was trying to help. There is a long chapter about women, not a single chapter about men in the Quran. So Allah knew that there is a problem in the society. Women don't have rights, that he has to try to help them. Don't harass them, don't beat them, don't do this, be kind to them, be fair to them. They get also inheritance, 50% inheritance, and it was much better than 0%. Yes, Kaz.
Okay, so but let's just think about this for a second.
Mhm.
What you're basically positing is that the perfect answer
Mhm.
was not available. God could not give Muhammad the perfect answer because they just wouldn't accept it, right?
I mean, not couldn't, but it wasn't. Yes, exactly. It wasn't time for that. We should
Okay,
develop,
so-
and then I have to say, for example, Kaz, 3,500 years ago, when the Moses came, that verse about let me read it for you. 45. That verse about an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. In the Torah was like this. Not exactly, but and we ordained for them therein a life for a life, an eye for an eye, a nose for a nose, an ear for an ear, a tooth for a tooth, and for wounds is legal retribution. So it was only until here, but it developed it 1400 years ago and said, but whoever gives up his right as charity, it is an expansion for him. And whoever does not judge by what Allah has revealed, then it is those who are the wrongdoers. So it says don't exceed the limit, an eye for an eye, which was 3,500 years ago. But 3,500 years ago, Kaz, was too early to say if you forgive, it is better for you. It added it 1,400 years ago.
Yeah, I get your point, but let's think about that for a second. Let's really consider the implications of what you're saying there.
Yeah.
God is so there's the absolute truth, right? The pinnacle of truth.
Yeah.
And then there's what you will accept, right? Somewhere down here. God has access to this, but he's giving you this, right?
Okay. Yes.
So that means
because you are not ready.
Whether you're ready for it or not, God is lying to you.
No, it's not lying to you. But look, for example,
no. Wait. Okay, here. Let me illustrate. Right. Let's say that your wife asks you where you've been all night. Right. You come home first thing in the morning. You say, "Oh, I was down on 6th Street." Right. Because that's where you were. But while you were there, you were messing around with some other woman. Right. Cheating on her. Right. You don't tell her that you were cheating on her, but you do tell her where you were. So you didn't lie, but you didn't tell her the truth.
Okay.
Is that still a lie?
Yeah, that's a lie. Yes.
That's a lie, right? If you have more truth to give and you don't give it, you're hiding the truth, aka lying, right?
Okay. Yes.
Okay. So God has the truth, but he's not giving you the whole truth. He's giving you some of the truth that you can handle. Okay. That's lying.
All right. No, look, I think that's a better way to understand it. Okay. When you send your child to school, they don't right away, teach them quantum physics. They start with them with 1 + 1, 2 + 2. They start with them slowly, because they say it is not lying. They know that this child is not handling such a advanced knowledge. So slowly. All right. It is a teaching. It is not lying. It is a teaching that you don't you don't handle the that ultimate knowledge, that PhD, for example. So you have to go slowly. The first prophets came, it was just, there is a God. There was no a Quran, a thick, revelation. Moses came with 10 command, Kaz. He didn't come with such a thick book like Quran with all these verses in it. Just 10 commands. And for example, a prophet in Persia, Zarathustra, okay, he was a prophet 5,000 years ago. He came with 3 commands just: good thoughts, good talks, good words, good thoughts, and good deeds. Okay, just three commands. So God knew that people are not ready. You have to go slowly, baby step. All right.
I mean, it's a delicate thing. I don't know if you know anybody who has kids in elementary school. I do. Maybe I can find some of their assignments and send it to you. Here in America, we have social studies classes for our kids where they teach about American history. And often, or maybe always, I don't know, when they're being taught about the early American history, it's a very whitewashed, watered down version of history, which is not totally factually inaccurate, but at the same time, totally lacking of any kind of context or acknowledgement of the wrongs that were done. Right.
Yes.
And it's a fine line when you're educating a child on what you tell them and how much you tell them at a certain time to get them to absorb the information versus hiding things from them. But there is a line, right? There's a certain point at which you're not telling the truth. If you talk about the American Civil War and you don't mention slavery, you're lying, right?
No. Yes, that's I understand. But the thing is that I say, for example, if people were not ready for forgiveness, like 545 that I read for you, an eye for an eye, people back then, they were not ready. Okay, even if you tell them, it would be worse. Perhaps they don't even accept this much. Okay, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. Okay,
and this is how I handle it, right?
Yes,
so I have kids, and I teach them. I do a homeschool, right? So when we do social studies classes, right, if there's something that's lacking, and I don't think that they can really handle the harsh, brutal reality of it, what I do is I tell them as much as I can, and then I say, there's a lot more to tell you too about this. And the details are very graphic or whatever. I don't know if you're ready for that yet, but when you are ready, I will tell you. But there's more to know, a lot more. And I always tell them that with everything, right? If there's something that's too simplistic, and that happens a lot, right? Especially with grammar, mathematics, all these classes, they're giving them a watered down version of things that are way more complex. And I just tell them it's more complicated than that. So what you're saying is it was too complicated for humans to understand. God gave them the best that he could. Then that means that there's another messenger forthcoming. There must be. There must be another message. It cannot be the final messenger if that wasn't the final message. The final message must be perfect.
Okay. All right. Now, I tell you about, that this is, we can disagree about many things, that why God sent his message in this way and that way. The thing is that we have to now concentrate on the Quran that we have in our hand. That is it moral? Is it good? Can we follow it? Okay. Why it was like this or that is doesn't help us much. Okay. I don't know if you hear me still or not, but anyway, because you put another, yes, good, very good. So it is, we have to talk about this Quran, that is it moral? Is it guidance for us? Okay. If it is not anymore the guidance for us, it doesn't help us anymore, because, for example, Quran helped us in the past, like, let's say, Arabs, they were buried their daughters alive, and he stopped it. God stopped them from doing that, okay, that crime. That was a good thing in the past. But if there is no, that was a good guidance. Alcohol is haram, okay? Millions of people have been saved in Muslim world from being killed by alcohol. As over 1 million people die, like over 100,000 people die in Russia, only in Russia, because of alcohol problems. Okay, so this was a good thing, but do we need still Quran, Kaz? Do we need still to follow it? Is there anything beneficial for us? Okay, I'm such a person, Kaz. Okay, I converted to Islam. I didn't convert to Islam because, oh, God exists, oh, I want to go to heaven. I converted to Islam because I found that Quran is going to guide us to that beautiful word that I was talking to you, an equal word, a word that we share everything with each other, we love one another. So if That is not in Quran. If Quran cannot guide us to such a world, if Quran cannot solve our problem today and future problems, then I agree with you, Kaz, that okay, it was good for 1400 years ago or 100 years ago. We don't need to follow it anymore. Okay, so this is my position, because I believe that Quran can guide us to that world. I have written a book, by the way. It is called Why Islam, and it is detailed. Why Islam: A Journey from Doubt to Believe. It is on Amazon, and I explain it in details, that why, where comes the source of the problems, how can we deal with that source, how can we get rid of that source which in the Quran is mentioned as Satan. Satan is the source of all bad deeds. For me, Satan is the system, the jungle system that I talked to you about, that gives this opportunity, encourages people to sell drugs, to produce weapons, to make coup d'etat in this country and that country, to create war between people in Middle East, for example, supporting Iranian regime so that they create conflict in the Middle East so that they can sell their weapons and then buy cheap oil, all these things. So this system, this jungle system, is the source of all problems we are facing on this planet. That if you force women to prostitution, you become rich, billionaire. Okay, this human trafficking. So all these things, is the solution is in Islam, according to me. Okay, and God guide us towards that equal world. We stand towards equality every day and say, show me the right way. Okay, that prayer that we do, and that prayer is towards Mecca. And what happens in Mecca is equality. When people go there, everybody should dress equal. No rich, no poor. You cannot wear jewelry. You cannot wear anything. Nobody has to know that you are a king or you are Elon Musk. You are absolutely equal with those dress, and we prostrate towards that. We worship that equality. So if, and I said it before, if another ideology, another religion can guide us to that world, okay, I'm very much willing to follow that religion or that ideology. Okay, Kaz?
It's interesting because when we talked last, you said something about Mahdi and
Yes,
how
yes.
Mahdi isn't coming. And it's on us.
Yes, it's on us. That's
Right.
that's a message, Kaz, that there is a way out. You are not condemned to this jungle. There is a way out, but you have to walk yourself. The guidance is there. The instruction, the map is there, Kaz.
We don't need a map. I mean, we have
need map.
we have shared experiences. We have
Okay.
a common format. Our biological commonalities give us a very similar sense of the universe. We are able to relate to each other in we even have specialized neurons in our brains that allow us to feel what other people are feeling. Like, that's how advanced we are.
Yes.
We don't need a guidebook. All we need to do is cooperate.
Yes, but Kaz, yes, let me tell you this. Kaz, there is a system that encourages you. I said, yes, encourages you, say, oh, if you do this, you become billionaire. And they do it. So we have to take that possibility away from them, so that, for example, the mullahs of Iran, Kaz, they have killed millions of people in 45 years. Not because they are crazy, not because they believe in that, what they say. It's because they have become billionaires. The leader didn't have a flat before revolution. Now he's over $100 billion rich. So we have to take away this possibility, so that mullah, when he goes up there, he knows that he just have to work for people. He cannot gain a single dollar. If he knows that, then he's not going to kill people. He's not going to lie to people. Okay. And today they try to get up there because it has more money in it. Okay. Not because they can do better. It's because they can make better for themselves. It is in their interest. So we have to create a war in that organization that I showed you before, Kaz. They don't give a single dollar to the members. Members work 24 hours, every day. In many, many years, they have been working, fighting. They don't get a single dollar. When you go up and become leader or, in a higher position, it's not that you get more money. It's you get more, responsibility. So you take it because you believe in it, because you love it. Okay. So I want that we live in such a world that we don't live for our interest. And I believe that that world, okay, is possible only by God, by God's guidance. That's like a strong magnet. I can give you another example, Kaz. Okay, in Iran, Kaz, we have Marxist organizations. Okay, that also were fighting against this Iranian brutal regime. And this Muslim organization that I showed you, none of them survived. None of those Marxist organizations, because their beliefs system was much weaker. But this organization is amazing. They have been surviving. They were bombed by USA, by UK. They were, they have been over 100,000 of their followers have been executed, but they're still the strongest. Why? Because they have a strong belief. So I believe without God is not possible. But if it is possible, Kaz, please, okay, I'm not against it. Okay, anybody can do that better, faster, please. Okay, let's go together. Let's fight together. Let's walk together, cooperate. Okay, together. All right, you can do from your side. Yes, you can do from your side. I do from my side. Let's find the source. Okay, let's agree on the source. The source is this jungle system. Okay, that's the source, and let's somehow get rid of the source. Okay, with God or without God, no problem. Let's get rid of this source that guide us to all these bad deeds. Everybody want to become billionaires. Now Trump, okay, want to take what is it? Greenland. He want to take Panama. He want to take everywhere.
Yeah, he take everything.
Yes, he want to take everything. So this world is a jungle world. You're stronger, you get the most. Okay. Yes.
Yeah. I'm on board with that 100%. Let's work together. Let's make this world more equal.
Yes.
We do have to hammer out a lot of details, but we can get to work on that for sure.
Yes. Exactly.
Do you want to do a Q&A or anything, or do you want to just go ahead and...
Yes, I can invite people if it's okay with you. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Yes. Okay. Let's see if somebody want to come on, and then here is the link, guys. Anybody want to join and ask questions, please join. And I would be happy. Let me see if Boji doesn't put up. Let me see here. Put up a link. I might join you. Sorry, doesn't put up a link. Okay, here's the link. Yes. Let me, by the way, pin it. YouTube. All right. Yes. Yes. Assalamu alaikum, my brother Mike.
Wa alaikum salam.
How are you, inshallah? Kaz, this is my atheist brother Mike.
Good to meet you, Mike. Thank you.
How are you doing, Kaz? Sorry, silence in the other channel there. So, Kaz, real quick, the Muslims love to bring up incest as your subjective morality. And you seem to say that it would have to be under kind of pressured situation or something, but have you never heard of genetic attraction, where children are separated usually through adoption or at birth, and then they run into each other as adults and they don't know they're genetically, they don't know their brother and sister, and they actually fall in love? I think there was a case in Germany where they sued to allow them to be married. I think they even said they'd sterilize themselves, but surprisingly, the Germans still turned them down.
I have not heard of that before. No. Genetic attraction. So you're saying that there's it's a biological mechanism?
They don't know why. It's just some weird phenomenon that has been observed, that there's been several cases of, men and women running into each other, not knowing their siblings and falling in love. And they don't know why that is.
Well, I mean, we have Trump just signed some kind of executive order expanding IVF and in vitro fertilization. We have there's this documentary of this guy. He donated to all these different sperm banks all across Europe, I think it was, or somewhere.
Right. He's got thousands of children.
Yeah, it was a Netflix documentary thing. He's got thousands of kids, right? But we know that incest can produce harm. We know that just from a genetic perspective, right? And then also, now I'm not sure if I cannot articulate a harm in something, I'm going to say that it's fine. right? I have to do that based on my philosophical presuppositions. If you think that I'm wrong, I feel like you need to articulate a harm. Now, if there's some incestuous relationship where there's no kind of psychological coercion, there's no kind of inherent limiting of your ability to interact with your environment and the people around you and your community, if that's at all possible, then maybe it's fine. But even the one instance where it's no apparent harm, right, creates a situation in which it makes it more acceptable for the instances where there is harm to be attractive to people, and that is a harm in and of itself, right? So I'm not really sure. I believe that I could hammer out a pretty good argument against incest wholesale without any what do you call it? Allusions to a god or anything else like that. But if I can't, if it's truly impossible to articulate a harm for something, then there's no harm.
Okay. And Moonji, kind of in the same vein, Islam allows for first cousins marriage. Do you think that's a good thing?
Okay, that's all right. Yes, that's not immoral. Okay, and I don't see anything wrong in that. Okay, for example, my brother is married to my cousin. Okay, and everything is fine. So it is not immoral, and it is not. It can be even. There are so many people who marry. They are not, cousins, but they get children with Down syndrome and other things. Yeah,
sure.
So
But
it is not 100% about that. Yes.
Right. But it goes from 1 to 1.5% to 2 to 3%. It
All right. Yes.
doubles the possibility.
Yes.
And also, I don't know if you've ever seen in England, they're apparently having a bit of an issue with the Pakistanis, and I think it's Bradford, that they've married their first cousins so many times that you're seeing a, sure, you marry your first cousin, 3% chance of a birth defect or abnormality.
Okay.
But then if the products of two first cousins marry each other, it goes up again and keeps going down the line.
Yes.
So
so then it is in Islam, it is more about moral and immoral, that it is not about that the child becomes, for example, disabled or such things. It's more about moral or immoral.
I mean, this kind of thing, it kind of requires some kind of grooming, some kind of manipulation of somebody's environment to make that kind of thing more appealing to them. You have to kind of brainwash somebody to get them to only want to be with their family member.
In many religions, they are like that. Okay, not family member, but mostly even in their own, tribes or relatives or,
Sure.
Yes.
I think back in the 80s, they did a study on children from kibbutz, which are, very small communities, usually don't marry within the kibbutz, even though they're not genetically, they're almost raised like brothers and sisters. They're not genetically bound or anyways, but there seems to be a natural non-attraction to obviously your siblings. But to move on to, you guys mentioned pork and things that are forbidden. And of course, Moonji talks about alcohol, and certainly alcohol can be detrimental to one's health and can lead to all sorts of problems. But why wouldn't Allah tell Muhammad to forbid, and I think Kaz kind of mentioned this, things that are like, like different frogs. I don't know if you guys ever watched Naked and Afraid, but one time they found these frogs and they all ate the frogs and they all got sick because that wasn't a good frog to eat. Here in Florida, we don't eat barracuda. I went down to Belize one time and this guy came off the boat with this big old barracuda. And I forget what it's called. It begins with a C, but there's a toxin in them that they eat parrotfish, and the parrotfish eat coral off the reef, and this coral is toxic. And then as the barracudas get bigger and bigger and these toxins build up, if you then turn around and eat the barracuda, it can kill you and it can paralyzes you, attacks your nervous system. So I would think rather than forbidding pork, which doesn't seem to have any real harm in eating.
No, it's not about harm. I explained is for me, most people don't understand exactly why. Okay, but for me, I understand it as because the flesh, pig flesh, is very much like human. Okay, that's why The pigment are very much equal. That's why I believe that that's why some people think that it is dirty, okay, because pig eats everything. But I believe that it is because of that. And about harm, okay, alcohol, Mike, it doesn't say alcohol, it says intoxication.
Intoxicants.
Yes, yes. So if anything intoxicate you is bad. So whatever it is. Yes.
Well,
So,
so even that's interesting. They're getting back into studying, psychedelic mushrooms and some of their beneficial effects.
okay.
But those would be forbidden under Islam, and they may be scientifically beneficial as opposed to harmful. In fact, I think back in the 50s when they first started doing studies, they found it cured alcoholism quite well.
Yeah, but Mike.
Dose makes the poison.
Yeah, Mike. If it is, it says even it has. Of course, it's not alcohol, yeah. But if there is something beneficial in it, okay, like even pork. If you are going to die from hunger, then you can eat it. So your life is most important, okay, more important than anything. So you have to think about your health, okay. So if it doesn't harm you and it's help you in something, okay, then yes, you can use it. All right, but
sure. In
yes,
alcohol and cough syrup or something would be allowed under Islam. And I know 5.3 today, or the flesh of swine, carrion is forbidden to you unless hunger overtakes you.
Yeah.
We have perfected.
That was another thing I wanted to bring up again, because I looked into that a little bit more, and I really cannot find substantiation to the idea that the word khamar means intoxication. I find that the word sukur, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, sukur, or however you say it, is the word for intoxication, the state of intoxication. But khamar means any intoxicant. So wine is an intoxicant, marijuana, cocaine, all these things are so khamar is the thing itself. It's a noun, right? It's not a adjective.
Okay. I don't know Arabic in that way, okay, but I know that most translator also translate it as intoxication. All right.
I think that's a matter of convenience for them. I think that it happens in the Bible. It happens I'm sure it happens in the Quran. When you have an ambiguous translation that you have a chance to make it go one way or the other, you're going to go the way that you prefer.
Okay. Yes. Another thing is that Kaz and Mike, in Islam we have something that called ijtihad, means that clerics, the clerics, they can decide even on the Quran, but it depends on if you agree with this cleric. Okay, it's up to you to agree with this cleric. For example, some cleric might be crazy and teach you something, but good clerics can say, for example, this verse is no longer needed. Okay, you don't need to follow it, or this verse should be like this. Okay, or for example, today maybe somebody think that only alcohol is haram. Okay, in Quran, but the scholars has to tell you no. For example, anything that harms you is haram. Okay, forbidden, like marijuana, like I don't know, cocaine or whatever. Or another thing is that, for example, Mike, the rule of fasting is from sunrise to sunset, and I've said it many times. So scholars must tell us how we have to abrogate that verse. Okay, we have to abrogate that verse in North Sweden.
Sure.
Salam alaikum.
Salam
alaikum. Salam
alaikum.
How are you? Welcome.
Good, and you guys? Hey guys.
Hey.
Hope you guys are good.
Yeah, we are fine. Thank you. So, Mike, yes. Sure. What I was saying is that they have to tell us how to, fast North Sweden when it is 24 hours sun. So that verse is not working here anymore. So there are things, and there are verses that are not working today, like free and a slave. Okay, if you do this, free and a slave, there is no slave anymore. So this mujtahid, we call it, or cleric, has to say, okay, this verse was for 1400 years ago. We don't need to follow it anymore. Understand? Or in the future, that word that I was talking to Kaz, there is no poor anymore. We don't need to feed poor. There is no any orphan anymore, or needy anymore. So we don't need to follow them anymore. Okay, they are history in that time. Okay, they are left to history. Yes.
Right. Well, I think the Salafi will put you on some beta there.
Yeah, I know. But I would ask them, Mike. Yeah, I would ask them. No, wait, Mike. if they say that, I would take them to North Sweden in summer when it is, fasting time. I say now fast. Okay.
Right. Well, no, not about that part. Obviously, yeah, you use reason to say, obviously, you've migrated out of Arabia. If you're in the Arctic Circle, in fact, I was on, I think it was Islam.com probably 10, 15 years ago.
Okay.
And one of the questions a woman was, well, I'm flying to Dubai, so I'm going to be on a plane going over the top of the earth, and it's going to take me like 24 hours or something, and it's during Ramadan. How do I fast? When do I break my fast? I'm moving through time zones, Like,
Yeah.
How are you going to do it? When should I start? When should I stop?
Yeah. Okay.
So,
what did they say? What was the answer?
Yeah, but
Mecca's time zone.
The thing is
I think the consensus was just go by Saudi Arabia's time zone.
Yeah, exactly. It should be like that. Okay.
They usually go to Mecca, say whatever the time is at Mecca. It's just like when does Ramadan start? Apparently, that's a big discussion every year, whether or not
I know.
Saudi Arabia sees the full moon or the crescent moon or whatever.
Yeah.
And so
but
Ramadan starting on different days. But I
yeah,
think for pork being forbidden is an Old Testament law, isn't it, from Deuteronomy or something, that if it has a cloven hoof and doesn't chew its cud.
Yeah.
I don't think it has anything to do with genetic similarities to humans.
For me, it has to. Okay. Because yes, I have to tell you this, Mike. Okay, I have to tell you this, that my sister-in-law, she's not a Muslim, she's Russian, and she was studying medicine in St. Petersburg. Okay, and then she was cutting a human body at that day. Then she goes to a restaurant and she order pork. And when they put it in front of her, she said, "Oh, guys," she wrote to everybody, "this is like human. I don't eat anymore." So she stopped eating it.
But aren't predators forbidden? Right?
Yes,
like
they are.
You talked about dogs, right? You can't eat lions, you can't eat tigers, any predators.
They are not. They are not mentioned in Quran. Okay, they are not.
Which doesn't make any sense.
No,
that makes no sense whatsoever.
No,
but if anything, the most moral animal to eat would be a predator.
Right.
Okay. Immoral, you mean? Yeah.
If it's moral to kill anything and eat it, it's a predator.
It's the ones who kill other things. Yeah.
All right. Yes, but
Google videos of like lions eating hippos. I mean, this poor little baby hippo couldn't get back to the water. And these poor lionesses
they eat their own babies. Of course, it's moral to eat them.
It's just standing there. The poor hippo, he's out of gas. He couldn't run anymore, and they're just taking chunks out of him. They don't even bother go for the throat. People I remember as a kid, they were always, nature's actually kind, and they're just calling this the ill and the old, and it's like, no, they get the little babies before they can walk, and they go for the throat. Well, they go for the throat so they can't get kicked in the head.
Yeah, I mean, it's very complicated. The reality of the life for an animal outside of domestication is a very harsh, brutal one. It's unforgiving. Nature, survival of the fittest, you're too slow, you get eaten, all that stuff. When we domesticate an animal, when we bring it into our farms and we farm them, we give them a different kind of life entirely. The paradigms aren't even comparable, really.
Right. And then, of course, you could get into factory farming and, of course, pate and stuff like that. Cruelties we do to animals sometimes.
Martin?
But I wonder how robotic animals are, because I know the smaller the animals become, the more robotic they are. Like, I don't think they have a soul, or I don't think they have they become more robotic. I don't think robots feel pain because they have no soul. We can make them scream. We can make them scream and react.
Human beings, we
destroy.
We have our defenses for ourselves when we act in certain kind of ways. I lost my mind. I went insane. I just lost control. I snapped. How robotic are we?
Yeah, we have massive amounts of robots in our body.
Yeah,
but what I'm saying is, we're still in control of this. There's still a soul.
Are we?
Yeah, I think there's an eternal soul where animals are not like eternal. They don't have eternal souls. I think they're more robotic, and that's so. The more you go down, the more robotic it becomes. Like this, I would say scientists have found like molecular nanomachines in our body that do functions and that work together to build us. And it makes bigger structures like our liver, which is like a factory that has like 500 functions in our body. So it makes bigger and bigger constructions that have a common goal and a function. Like the scientists say, a liver has like 500 functions. It's awesome design, in my opinion.
Okay.
I'm not really sure that we have any kind of free will at all. At least not in the
Yeah,
sense that
if there's no
usually
creator,
describe it.
then I would agree. If
I
there's no
looked at
creator, we
human
would just
behavior in
robots.
general. Humans seem to be very predictable, very robotic, in my opinion. And I think the idea that we have control over ourselves is an illusion that's created by our minds to make us feel better about the fact that we don't.
Why I think we have free will is like the robots we create. I don't think they have free will because they have to follow our rules, our stuff that we tell them to do. I think our creator gave us free will, so we are able to rebel against his commands. Normal machines, his other machines can't rebel against his commands. The DNA code, they can't rebel against the commands written in the code that they have to follow. We can rebel against them. So I think that's why we have a kind of a free will. And if we give our machines free will, they would be able to rebel against us in a way.
Well, I mean, that kind of presumes that the commands were given.
Yeah.
Right?
I think there is a creator. I think there's a massive amounts of evidence for creator. I think there's insane amounts of evidence for creator.
Well, so what's the best one?
There's lots. I'm an industrial engineer. Scientists have always the evidence I like is scientists have always looked for code in the galaxy, any Morse code or anything that comes to us, because we know code usually is connected to intelligence. Okay, and if that code gives instructions to machines and factories, then it's even more pointing to intelligence. And scientists have found the exact same thing in our bodies and design strategies that we even use, which further point to intelligence, like automatic error correction, files within folders, data encryption, everything like that is found in our bodies. So,
but there's a totally different kind of code.
Huh?
So, as far as I understand, I'm not an expert, or anything, but when it comes to computer programming, for example, right, we're using a symbolic code. These are symbols that mean certain things, right? But the code is not the thing itself. Whereas in genetics, we have shapes. It's a geometric, the way that these molecules interact with each other is the code. It's
programming code. We can store our programming code in DNA.
But it's not a story. It is a code. It's not like it's storing information. It is the information.
Yeah, but we can store our information, our computer information in DNA because it's a code. It's a programming code. We can program DNA to do stuff that we command it to do instead of...
In a computer, there is no ones and zeros, right?
Yeah.
There's just on and off transistors, right?
Yeah.
Right, and we encode information in that way, right?
Yeah.
So the electrical charges themselves are not the thing that we've encoded, right?
Yeah.
But when it comes to DNA or molecules, they're actually just shapes and unions. What's the word? Not unions. Crap, I'm having a brain fart. Anyways, the way that molecules, bonds, that's the word I was thinking of, bonds. It's just molecules, shapes, and bonds. And the way that they come together, that what emerges from there is these macro structures. But they're not so deterministic as code is. For instance, a genetic code for gender, as we talked about earlier, is affected by lots of different genes, and the on or off of any particular one of them doesn't necessarily translate into a change in the macro structure.
Oh, well, scientists use the DNA code and computers to crack the code. So now we can understand more and more what codes for our eye colors and stuff like that. So they can change the programming code so that the machines and factories in our body follow our commands to build like a blue eye instead of a different eye, So they are cracking the code more and more. So you can give them the code and then they can build a virtual body already and guess how the guy is looking like because it's programming code.
Right, but doesn't our ability to manipulate the code show that there isn't a creator?
No, it shows that it requires intelligence. And from our previous experience, I would say it's more reasonable to assume that it comes from intelligence. I think there's more evidence that it comes from intelligence than non-intelligence. From all our experiences, every code we know of comes from intelligence, especially if it gives commands to nanomachines and factories or any kind of factory
Your claim is more profound than that. Even it's not just that code comes from intelligence; that every single thing is intelligently designed. Everything. There is no such thing as unintelligently designed or undesigned. That doesn't even exist in your worldview. There's no such thing as undesigned or non-design or randomness or anything like that, right?
I think there's randomness and stuff like that.
You do?
Yeah, people code with randomness in a computer as well. They use random numbers generators and all kinds of stuff to use randomness in code.
Well, I mean, if there's a creator, a God
goes bad.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, Cass, but what do you think? Like, I mean, autoimmune disease. That to me speaks of unintelligent design. Like the code's going bad.
No, it's just errors. It's just fallen creation. Right. Even our programming code, it gets God errors in. Errors. No, that's why I made automatic error correction built into it. Just like we are sending zeros and ones to each other, and there's automatic error correction built into this whole system to double check if you guys are getting the exact zeros and ones that I'm sending. Stuff like that is built in.
Down syndromes, these things aren't corrected. I mean,
yeah, there's errors that pass. That's why my computer crashes and your computer crashes. There's errors that pass through all that design. You know, it's not perfect at the moment. The world is like fallen.
The problem is the analogy that you're using severely limits God in any kind of perfection kind of way. Like you're giving him you're ascribing to him the programming capacity of basically a super GPT from 5 years from now. Maybe. That's about as good as he is.
I don't think you've looked into the programming code. It's insane.
I was going to go with
Cobalt. Have you seen the severity of the errors? Have you seen the severity of the errors that arise in this code that he's written?
Any code that you copy over and over will get errors. Start getting errors.
Not if you're perfect.
That's why I think at the beginning. No, but that's why automatic error correction is built in. But even then, it gets through.
If you're a perfect programmer, you create a perfect program.
Yeah, at the beginning it was perfect. That's why incest was wrong. Now incest is wrong.
But no, wait. No. How about Kaz? How about if he didn't want to make
no, it's fallen, program. Man. It's like a virus took over the computer, and now he's nagging the
perfect
thing. Computer.
The most important thing for a perfect thing to create is imperfection.
No, imagine that he has created a perfect one somewhere else, but he wanted to create, imperfect here, because Kaz.
Yeah, you're making my point.
Yeah,
but that's
Muji's a multiverse guy.
But Muji, you don't understand. In a court case, there's multiple pieces of evidence that proves someone is guilty. I'm bringing one. There's thousands I can bring. Just like in a court case, they will not accept the evidence. They will make excuses for it. That's why it's cumulative case. It's multiple pieces of evidence that point to there being a creator. You understand? Just same in the court case. You use multiple pieces of evidence, not just one. You can't prove with one.
But each piece of evidence must stand on its own feet.
You can always make excuses for evidence. You can always make excuses.
No. If I bring forth a piece of evidence and it gets tossed out by the judge because it's inadmissible, the cop just made up something, whatever, it gets tossed out, they didn't have a warrant, then that's no longer part of the argument anymore. That's the problem. Is that when the cumulative case is brought forward, each piece is taken down one by one, but you don't ever realize it. You're not paying attention because in your mind, my objections don't mean anything to you.
No.
Ignoring what I say.
I love objections. I love being skeptical and stuff because I've seen so many people being deceived. I don't want to be deceived. Like I think we're all deceived in some places. That's why we have to help each other in love. Like I think Muji is deceived and blinded by his biases. And perhaps I have biases as well that deceives me into thinking something wrong. But I think we're all deceived in some places, and that's why I'm trying to help Muji and help atheists, help everyone to see where they are deceived.
You're saying one thing, Muji's saying another. You're saying that God. Muji's saying that God wanted to make an imperfect system, and you're kind of saying that he needed to.
No. I'm saying this like sin that came into it. It's like a virus came into the system, and now the computer is not functioning the way it should. That was designed to function. You understand?
Which is only a problem for human programmers.
I'm talking about the whole system. Everything is falling apart.
If you were a
decaying.
perfect programmer, you could create a system that was totally invulnerable to viruses.
Yeah, but I'm talking about it's because of free will. If we
Free
didn't
will,
have
yeah.
free
Well,
will,
you say, Martin, just say free
if we
will.
didn't have free
You're
will,
saying sin corrupted
this
the
problems.
program. The program was perfect.
Yeah.
You had Adam and Eve. Their
Yeah.
children could have incest. And then sin crept in. Cain kills Abel. Now we get sin creeping in. And that
Yeah, now programming code is not perfect. So
program.
now
It's-
if I
it's
There's
just
more
act
evidence of
by
an
our own
imperfect
free will.
programmer in an imperfect system. That's just more evidence of it. That's just that defeats your point. You don't see that?
Okay, 3 years.
That's
Three-
self-defeating. You are saying
Assalamu
God
alaikum.
intentionally couldn't. He either intentionally or was incapable of doing it the right way.
Sure. What's the I just read that quote the other day.
Assalamu alaikum, Mr.
The
Tree.
ancient Greek guy.
Salam alaikum.
Low tree.
Who's the ancient Greek
I'd
guy?
like to
Christ.
give
God said
my
he's either incapable or unwilling to make things perfect. Anyways,
Sure.
go ahead, Mr. Tree. I'll mute myself.
thank you, Mike. I appreciate it. How are you doing, sir? So my take on this whole thing is that God created us perfect for purpose. God is absolutely perfect. We are not absolutely perfect. We're perfect for purpose. And being perfect for purpose, God gave us a free will, like Martin said. And at that free will that God gave us, it was perfect, but through our disobedience in God, imperfection came into the world.
I agree.
So
And
God did not
I
create
can
an
provide more
imperfect world.
evidence for this for God because there's massive amounts. Like you can see historical evidence that God has come to humans throughout history. You can see it in the Bible. You can still see it today. People are still, even Muslims, they come in contact with God and then become Christians. Even atheists, I could give you massive amounts of examples of that
So-
happening.
By the way,
Look,
Kaz,
pantheist?
Eyewitness.
but Kaz, by the way, Martin and Tree, they are Christians. Okay.
Yeah.
So they are talking from Christian point of view. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not a panentheist.
What?
You're not a panentheist.
No, Christian.
It sounded
Christian.
to me like you were saying that every encounter with God was valid throughout human history.
No. Obviously, this obviously just like any science,
It's only
in
the
science, you get
ones that
bad
you believe in are
science.
the right ones, right?
you get bad science and bad evidence. Okay.
Okay, so how do you know
There's
that
false
yours is the
positives
right
or-
one?
Because of all the extra evidence that I can provide, like the massive amounts of evidence that I have for Creator and who He is, and the evidence He has provided me multiple times.
So the best one so far was design, which is not a evidence at all because design implies non-design as a opposition. If there's no opposite of design, then there is no design. It's a hollow concept by your definition.
I don't understand that, but like, say we created the world, okay, and they haven't seen us. We make like beings in there, and they see we perhaps made mistakes, or there's some virus that infected the computer, and now they like, we don't have a creator. We see the ones and zeros, we see the code, we see
Okay.
the nanomachines, but it's not perfect. So there's probably
let's
no
say that-
creator. You know?
Let's say that every time you cook food, you make food, and I say you're eating chicken, and every time you eat anything, I claim that you're eating chicken. It's all chicken, right? Does the word chicken mean anything when I say it?
No.
No. That's what I'm saying about what you're saying about design. Everything
No,
is
I'm-
design, therefore design is meaningless.
No, I'm not saying everything is designed. I told you there's randomness and stuff that happens. I'm talking about nanomachines and factories and programming
Yeah,
code because
you
we've
have to-
only seen that stuff come from intelligence.
How
Can you
do
give me
you
example?
reconcile randomness with God? How can those
We
two
use
things
randomness
exist?
in our computers as well. So I don't understand.
We experience randomness. We think that it's randomness, but God is in control of everything, right?
God is not in control of everything. He gave you free will. And there's lots of other beings that have free will. Like I also believe that demons exist. And I have lots of evidence for them as well.
When the Bible says that the God is literally holding the whole universe together, what does that mean?
Yeah, but that doesn't mean you don't have free will. He holds you
Maybe
together,
not,
all
but-
your nanomachines, all your
No,
stuff
I'm not saying it
is-
doesn't mean you have free will, but I'm saying it does mean that he is literally controlling the fabric of the universe.
Yeah, but not you. So that's why you can curse God, you can reject him and do all kinds of evil stuff because you're not in control, direct control by God, you know?
It's like you're playing a video game God has the master controls. He can change anything in the video game, but you still get to play, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why he can walk on water. Like our creators can in a game walk on water while every other place they sink.
So then there's God's will and human will. Where's the randomness?
There's also randomness in any game, in any world. They use
God does not have control over the randomness.
Well, he can use randomness.
He uses randomness. This is.
I think he uses, but I could be wrong. Like we use randomness, and I've used randomness in programming code that I've made.
If we don't have free will, then God is basically controlling everything. So I think the randomness that you're referring to is just, again, humans' choice to do what they want to do. And it's not that God doesn't know what's going to happen. It's just God allows us to make that decision.
Like quantum mechanics is like mind-blowing. And if you told someone about quantum mechanics a long time ago, they would think you're crazy. Or if you go back in time and showed us people what we are able to do, they would think you're crazy and they wouldn't believe what we are able to do because it looks like magic. You understand? The same with what God can do. It looks like magic, but he's just the creator of the world. Just like our creators of our worlds, they can do stuff that no one in the game can do. You know?
I think, Kaz, as I said, I think all these discussions finally should go back to that what we said at the end, that we should work together for
and help each other. That's what I'm saying.
Help each other.
If I'm deceived
for a
somewhere,
better world, for a better world. To see if Martin has a better suggestion, or Kaz or Mike has a better suggestion,
or if I'm deceived,
or deceived. I mean, if you have a good,
mistaken,
if you have a good, how do you say it? Good plan. How to get, for example, a president comes and say that I have a good plan to fix the country. Okay, so if he explained for us his good plans, then we should vote for him. And if we agree that that plan is better than, for example, Trump's plan is better than Biden, so we shouldn't think that I don't like Trump because he believes in this or that. But if his plan is good and working, then we should vote for him. So I think that for me, as I said, it doesn't matter what you believe in. You just come with a good plan and help. Let's go together.
But see, I think it does matter what you believe in. It makes a massive difference. And it changes your deeds, Mujin. Like the people that go bomb America or fly into their buildings. Yeah, it's because of what they believe, you know.
I know. Look, I say if it changes,
they're deceived.
Yes, if it, how do you say it? If it changes your plans, and you say, okay, I'm going to fix the economy by, crashing into the World Trade Center, for example. Yeah, everybody understand. Okay, it's crazy. No, we don't want this one. So, but if somebody says that I believe in this, but my plan is this in this, and everybody understand that, okay, this plan is good. It doesn't matter if you are Muslim, Christian, atheist, or whatever, okay? As long as your plan are good, okay? And you say how you are going to do that. For example, now, again, I go to that we are fighting against Iranian regime, because we want freedom in Iran. We want to bring down the regime. I don't care if it's a Marxist organization that tells us, do this, do that, and we see, okay, his plan is working, or if it is a Christian or it's a Muslim or whatever. Okay, so if I see that this organization, as my organization is a Muslim organization but has Christian followers, atheist followers, Marxist followers, okay, because they see that this organization is good and their plan is good, they are fighting very good, okay, so they follow that.
The problem is, Muji, that you and I agree that equality is good. Yes. But there are plenty of people who don't agree that that's good.
Okay, yes.
And they have their books and their justifications and their interpretations for disagreeing with us. Yes. So what we need to do is try to...
Yeah.
They're not robots.
Whatever the reason is, we need to just... the most important thing, in my opinion, is settling on a common definition of good and evil.
Yeah. Okay. So
good and evil also point to a creator. It's more evidence as a creator, because
I disagree. They're evidence against the creator, in my opinion.
No, because if you really get real evil, like say demons or something that's really bad, then it's pointing towards a creator. Because even in a worlds we create, if there is no creator in a world we create or whatever, you can do what you want. There's no rules. You can do what you want. Okay, but if there is really a creator, there would be rules. You know,
what do you think is
real
more
good and
evil? Which one do you think is more evil, a child molester or a demon possession?
What do you mean?
What's more evil, a child being molested by a human being or a demon possessing a child? What's more evil?
I don't know.
Both
Because
both are evil.
because
both are
both are evil, I would say.
Both are evil.
What's more evil?
Both are evil. Most of us.
Both are evil, but
Okay, what's more evil, stealing a candy bar or murdering somebody?
But what I mean is why I'm hesitant is because usually what I've seen with demon possession is you have to give it like legal right or open a door for the stuff to come in, invite the stuff in. So it's not just a demon can't just possess you out of nowhere for no reason whatsoever. You have to.
Yeah, I heard that
like,
you could get it from buying a Ouija board.
Yeah, you have to go open doors, or like some of these Satanists on the internet, they invite the stuff into them and stuff like that. Then
so this is what I mean. Like your model of evil is totally incompatible with mine, because you can sit there and say that buying a Ouija board and being possessed by a demon is just as evil.
I didn't say that.
Child molestation.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that. You didn't say that. When did I say that? No.
You said they're both evil.
No.
Yeah, they're both evil.
Okay,
I don't know.
I'm asking. I'm asking for a judgment. If you so you're saying that you cannot judge. Okay, I'll be more sharp. Fine. You're saying that you cannot judge the which one is more evil, and I'm saying that is a very big
on the negative effects
problem.
It depends on negative effects, perhaps, or something. You know, how long has the demon possessed? What has the demon done? Thrown the child into fire and burned it, or what? You understand? I don't understand. You can't just give me like this little bit of information and then I have to somehow think, okay, what is more evil? You know, in a court case, they have to give lots of information to see what the judge should fine the guy for or give him a massive amount of prison sentence or not.
Okay,
you know?
Martin, can I ask you, is it more evil to be an atheist than a murderer?
No.
Both are harmful to the society.
I think the murderer would be more likely. I think a murderer would more likely kill someone if he's an atheist than if he believes someone is made in the image of God, they have infinite worth and stuff like that.
So
you know,
I don't know if you guys saw it was probably 3 months ago or something. It went pretty viral. There was a Islamic scholar, preacher, whatever he was, saying, you know, a Muslim, even a murdering, raping Muslim is better.
Yeah, I know him. I have it.
Right?
I wouldn't say that.
It went all over the place. People were reacting to it and stuff.
I wouldn't say that.
Okay.
No.
Good. So you
a
disbeliever isn't
Mike.
worse in his disbelief than an actual believing murderer.
No, Mike.
I'm just saying it's going to have bad effects because you're firstly going to do bad stuff, perhaps, because of that belief. And you're going to reject God's forgiveness and stuff like that. There's negative effects that because of that belief. Any belief. Like if you're ISIS follower, you believe in ISIS Islam, it's going to cause massive negative effects because I think it's satanic.
That's for sure. That's for sure. Yeah. But
incentivized by demons, in my opinion.
Yeah, but
like I think Muhammad came in contact with a demon, Muji.
Okay.
In that cave, and I've seen demons do a lot of things in threes because of the hatred of the triune God. That's another piece of evidence how I figure out who's the real God. Is you'll check which God demons target.
Well, so what is the most outrageous thing that you've seen a demon do?
The 3 a.m. thing is crazy for me because I've experienced it myself. Some of the stuff, like it seems like demons do stuff in threes. Like even in Hadith, Muhammad came in a cave and he came in contact with Gabriel, and it choked him 3 times. Okay, and then suddenly left him, and he think he came in contact with an angel, and there's also another example of that where there's 3 goddesses in the Hadith, where they are told to pray to these 3 goddesses. No, that's 3 a.m. thing. I watched Emily Rose. I don't know if you guys watched the Exorcism of Emily Rose. It's a movie, and that thing had an effect on me. I watched it with my brother and my father, and we all woke up at 3 a.m. 3 nights in a row or something. And then I wanted to do tests on this stuff because I'm like, what? The movie influenced me to wake up at exactly 3 a.m. Okay. And then I saw people haven't even finished this movie and they wake up at 3 a.m. I wanted to do tests on people. They wake up at 3 a.m. just from asking them to do the test, and then they don't want to do the test. And the one guy that a test on, he contacted me late at night and said like a vase flew off his cupboard and his light went off on at exactly 3 a.m. And then I saw Satanists who also talking about this 3 a.m. phenomenon. And I saw it multiple times at places that these things seem to do things in 3 because of their hatred of the triune God. They would scratch people in 3s, wake them up at 3, choke them. You know, they seem to also like choking.
Can I read this
they
to you
also
real quick?
seem to like choking a lot. Huh?
Around 2 to 3 a.m., your body temperature, which is influenced by your circadian rhythm, starts to rise, signaling the transition from deeper sleep to lighter sleep stages. This is a common phenomenon, not just in any religious context, but across the world and across many cultures and religions. 3 a.m., because our bodies are attuned to the circadian rhythm, which is attuned to the revolutions of the earth around the sun and the earth spinning. So, I mean, I don't think that this is necessarily something you may have noticed it, and it may be a correlation, but I don't think it's it's just not causative. What is the causative?
I'm just saying you can always make an excuse. What I mean is you can always make an excuse for evidence, obviously, but I'm saying it's exactly at 3 a.m., not just close to 3 a.m.
You can't make excuses for compelling evidence. That's why it's called compelling.
No, you can. Give me a compelling evidence. Give me compelling evidence.
The definition of compelling is that it cannot be excused.
No, you can still make excuse. If someone doesn't want to believe it, do you think Muji is going to accept your evidence that Islam is evil or bad? Or
if
he's going to obviously have some excuses.
Is not compelling, then he won't accept it.
Yeah, because he has biases, and those biases are going to make excuses for that evidence, obviously. So give him, give me evidence for something,
is way different than an actual fact. If I'm giving you a fact of reality, that's not just an excuse. That's just an explanation.
I would still call it excuse of a counter argument or whatever you want to call it.
What's the difference between an excuse and an explanation?
Well, excuses, you're making explanation about something as a counter argument, in my opinion. But I'm not first language English. I could be wrong. It's not my first language, so I struggle to express myself perfectly.
Okay, that's fair enough. I understand. So I'm late for work because a car hit me. I got in a car accident right before work. The boss tells me, "Why are you late?" And I say, "Well, I got in a car accident." I don't want to hear your excuses. You're fired. Does that make sense?
It depends on what he said before that. Say, well, like you can like it depends. It might not be true that he's saying, and he's making excuses. Like the dog ate my homework or whatever.
An excuse and a reason are the same thing, but excuse carries the connotation of it's made up or not. As factual.
It's not valid. Right.
It's not valid. Yeah, an excuse is not considered valid. Obviously,
right.
You're excusing why you have excused absences, you have unexcused absences. You're excusing why you're late by the reason I was hit by a car.
Right. So if you tell me I wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and I'm attributing to this supernatural phenomena, and I say, well, there's actually a natural phenomena that's well documented, and here's an explanation for how that could happen, and you say, oh, that's just an excuse. Who's being honest here?
Yeah, perhaps I'm using the wrong word, but I'm just saying it's like you can always make a counter argument for something. That's why I use cumulative evidence, so that just like in a court case, like if there's DNA or anything, they can make counter arguments or excuses for the evidence and give examples of, okay, perhaps this happened, that someone planted the evidence there or planted the DNA there. That has happened. So it's no longer evidence, Right. It doesn't follow like that. It's still evidence, Even if you make an excuse for it and say perhaps someone planted it, no longer evidence. Could be, it doesn't mean it's no longer evidence, you know.
Well,
If you
I
understand
thought
what
it
I'm
was
trying to say.
interesting, Martin, you were talking about 3 a.m. and maybe Moonji can correct me, but I thought I can't remember it's 3 a.m. or 3:30 or maybe 3:33 in Islam is the best time to make dua, to ask God for something. Moonji, I don't know if you're still there. If you ever heard that,
Muhammad was also obsessed with threes. I don't know why. It's probably this demonic stuff. Yeah, but like I think it's demonic stuff that influenced him to be like totally obsessed with threes, saying stuff 3 times. They have to do a lot of stuff in threes because of Muhammad. You know?
You're saying that the Trinity is evil?
No, I'm saying
You're saying 3 is some kind of superstitious evil thing.
No,
So Trinity
you may have
also
missed it
three.
earlier. He said that the devil and demons hate 3 because they hate to try and die. So they do.
No, I didn't say that. I didn't say. I say
thought that's what you said.
sometimes the problem is God also does stuff in threes,
Right.
but the demons do things in threes because
To
they
mimic.
hate God. You know, God also does stuff in threes. A lot of
Hard to
times.
tell when the 3 is
His
good or
name
bad.
is God the Father, God the Son, and God the Holy Spirit. That's 3.
If I
In the
scratch
Bible, it's
myself,
holy, holy, holy. There's like a lot of stuff in threes.
if I
you know?
scratch myself 3 times, is
No,
that
I'm just
something-
saying. You could say it's
Trinity
weak
proof?
evidence, but I'm just saying there's a connections. I've picked up this connection. I just wanted to share the connection. Perhaps I'm mistaken, but I've seen this a lot.
Maybe if there is one God,
Yes,
There is a fact as well. We always stop our stream at 3.
Yeah, because we do it for good. Demons would do it for evil, you know.
Yeah,
We do it out of good, you know.
yeah.
You know, it's funny. When I was a kid, I was at some family member's house, I think, and they thought that there was blood pouring from the walls, some kind of magical, supernatural sign, right? It wasn't until much later, when I was an adult and way after this, I realized that the reason why they thought that was the walls were bleeding is because they smoked, and their walls were just covered in these drops of nicotine smoke.
Yeah, there's
I'm
false
wondering
positives. Yeah, obviously, there's false.
What is the
stuff.
most compelling supernatural evidence any of you have seen?
It depends what you mean with supernatural, because like quantum mechanics should look supernatural, but if you understand it, then it becomes natural. You know, a creator creating a world looks supernatural, but if you understand it, it's totally natural. We do it over and over and over. You know, creating our own worlds, virtual worlds. So it depends what you mean with supernatural.
Well, I guess I mean a suspension of physical laws, internet, and I don't know really. There's no such thing as supernatural, obviously. Whether you
because
believe
it just
in
becomes
God or not.
There's a lot of stuff like supernatural at the beginning with science, and then later science understands it, and it becomes natural. Like it
I
looks
mean, I guess it would be
like,
things that cannot be explained by science ever.
For example, let's
but
say,
why would it?
wait,
That's
Martin,
not
Martin,
possible. Like
wait. Like Moses dropped his stick and became snake. Okay, if we saw that, then that's supernatural. If, for example,
okay, so that would be supernatural. Something like that. Demonic. I saw the one atheist do test on this demon stuff, and then he wanted to test if he had demons, and then he totally blacked out and reacted totally crazy. That would be evidence for me of supernatural, and he's skeptical. He's totally skeptical. You can go look at his videos before. He was making jokes about everything, all religions, making jokes of everything, and then when he tested if he had demons, he no longer joked anymore. You know, you could see he's serious and he's scared, and he didn't know what the hell was going on.
That could be part of his grift. He could be pulling an Andrew Tate on you. You know, starts out as one thing, then he becomes
then he's very good at that, because he seems totally different. His friends says they haven't seen him like that in their whole lives, and the whole room seems to change. The atmosphere changed. A lot of these guys that call up demons, it seems like to change the atmosphere or something.
That's the thing about grifters, right? The better that they are, the less likely you are to identify them.
I think you should always be skeptical, but I'm just saying that's some of the evidence. Can make excuse perhaps for the evidence, but I'm just saying that
if you can create evidence, there's a guy in America called the Amazing Randy. He's a retired.
He died.
Did he die?
Yeah.
Is his $1 million challenge not still out?
I'm not sure, honestly. I've
Yeah,
heard
but
that
there's
it
other
went down and
guys.
came back up again.
There's other guys that also have $1 million challenges, but they just make it with their biases and excuses to
Right,
make
that
it
they
almost
won't-
impossible, you know?
I mean, to me,
Doesn't
it's
have-
silly. I mean,
doesn't Kent Hovind also have $1 million challenge against evolution or something? Like
okay,
something.
like at one point, Bluetooth radio waves, right, were unheard of. Nobody had ever heard of them. Is completely incomprehensible to any human being alive at one point in history. And now they're ubiquitously used by everybody. The little kids know how to use them, and they don't even understand what they are. Nobody knows what the heck of. I guarantee you, if you go on the street and interview 10 people, like one of them will maybe understand how Bluetooth works, right? And yet everybody's using it. If supernaturality existed, that's how it would be. Nobody would understand how it works, but we would all be doing it. The churches would be the place you go to when you're sick, not the hospitals. They would be ubiquitously used. But because science works and religion doesn't, science is ubiquitous and not religion. And there is no
Science
religion
comes from
that is
religion.
ubiquitous as science is.
Science comes from religion.
Scientists come from religious backgrounds. Science
No,
itself.
science. They
not
even
come from
say that many atheists say that religion is an early form of science, and that science comes from religious background, and that
I would say that religion is an early form of science. Sure, we can say that.
Yeah, but my definition
means knowledge.
Science comes from Latin word. I can't always say it right. Scientia, which simply means knowledge. That's why you get library science and political science, and so forth. You know, and that's why I love gaining knowledge, because I do think there's a creator, and the more a lot of people, scientists, are motivated because they know there's a creator, and we're studying his fingerprints in creation. So the more you study it, the more you can get to know the creator and what he's like and what he does and stuff. Just like any creation that we make. Sorry.
No, go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
You can go.
I was just going to say that it being an early form of, let's say, science, being the best attempt at knowledge, right? I mean, even today, our best understanding of quantum mechanics is probably infinitesimal compared to the complete and comprehensive understanding of it, wherever that may be. So there's this certain charity we have to give, obviously, but at the same time, this religious practice, this idea that was knowledge back then, it's not compatible with our ideas today. Now we have these things called hypotheses, we have these things called methodologies, and we have all these different ways of guessing and then checking, right? Where back then those ideas it wasn't like you guessed and then you checked. You just guessed and you either believed or you didn't.
Yeah, but there's different forms. There's different ways of getting knowledge, you know. Most of the stuff you know is not gained by checking over and over. You take eyewitness testimony and all kinds of ways like that to get knowledge. We don't do everything we know. Most of the stuff we know, we get through other ways, other methods, not the scientific method, if you understand what I mean. No, most of the stuff you believe and know comes not from a scientific method. Do you understand? Did you do scientific method on to know your wife loves you, or your children love you, or that your child exists? You know,
for those
you
things,
have to do
like,
science. You have to write in a journal every time you want to prove something.
I think that even babies engage in a very crude form of the scientific method in the exploration of their environment, gaining knowledge. You disagree?
How's that?
They make observations of their environment, they form hypotheses, and then they test them. They get some feedback, and then they incorporate that into their knowledge base. And that's how babies grow.
Yeah, but we don't test most of the knowledge we have.
It's not a rigorous, double-blind, placebo-controlled kind of science, but it is still scientific method. I think that there's a very good case to be made that there's very scientific ways that babies themselves explore their universe, and that they gain knowledge and practical common sense experience from that exploration of the universe. They do little experiments every single moment of their lives, testing their universe and figuring out how it works, and then they eventually become a fully functioning human.
Yeah, I'm just saying there's multiple methods that people use to gain more knowledge. Historical science doesn't work with testing something over and over. It's historical science. It's one-time events that happened. You can't test it. You know, you can't recreate it and do tests on it again, you know.
And your
to understand
confidence
this.
in that knowledge is appropriate, is apportioned to the testability of it, right? Like if I tell you I know something because I just know it, you're going to be less inclined to believe it than if I say I know it because I saw it.
Yeah, but that's still evidence that I can make excuses for. You know, say you were hallucinating or whatever, you know. Any evidence you provide for me, I can make excuses for it, you know. If you understand what I mean. Yeah, any evidence you provide for anything, I can always make, if I don't want to believe it, I can make some counter argument or excuse for it. Like Muji, any evidence you provide him that Islam is evil or bad, or you will just have a counter argument.
But the point I'm trying to make is that if I try to give you some information and you doubt it because I'm not giving you the source of the information, or I'm not giving you a good reason to think that it's true, that's a totally different thing. I'm not just talking about excuses. Sorry, I'm not here.
Sorry, my browser crashed. I don't know why.
No, I kicked you out.
no, the thing crashed. Errors, man, errors.
I know.
Moonji is the god here. He kicked you out.
Yeah.
No errors going on. That was
Sorry, Kaz, you were saying?
Let's just move on. That's fine.
No, you were saying something interesting, but I could only hear a little bit.
I honestly can't even remember.
Me, I don't know.
I can't. Let's move on.
You know, I will.
I'll remember it in a second when you start talking again. I promise.
Okay, let me make a comment. You know, science also started as a suspicious, curiosity. You make a guesswork on it. This is how science starts. If science doesn't start, you have a solution, you have an answer. That's not how science starts. Science starts with the curiosity, guesswork, imagination. That's how science develops in everything.
But I think also from a God hypothesis scientific method, you can make predictions. Like, say, scientists say that most of the programming code or the DNA code is just junk. Then you can predict that if there is a creator, you would expect that it shouldn't be like that, that there should be a lot of function. And which is what later scientists found out, that most of the code that they thought is junk is actually has functions. They just didn't know what it's for, and then they thought it's junk. You understand? Stuff like that. And predicting like that the universe has to have a beginning, because everything that has a beginning usually has a cause, And if there was no creator, we would expect the universe to have always existed. Like God, he has always existed and he doesn't need a creator. Okay? And scientists said in the past that the universe has always existed because that's the only evidence they saw. But later we realized that it has a beginning. And a lot of guys didn't like that at the beginning because it was pointing to more evidence that it might have a creator,
I don't know that it points to from what I understand about science, about the Big Bang cosmic inflation theory, as I understand it, is that the mathematics break down at the nanoseconds after. So we have no clue if there was a beginning or not.
Yeah, how would you know if there's a beginning?
Scientists have proven that there has to be a beginning of the universe.
The cosmic inflation theory does not posit the beginning of the universe.
But
the cosmic inflation theory posits that we do not know what happened in the nanoseconds before the cosmic inflation. We have no idea.
But there was a
beginning.
Anybody who says that the universe had a beginning is giving you a religious belief.
No. Wait, there is a beginning and there is an end. There are three theories how the world will
That's
end.
A belief. That's not supported by the facts.
Okay, no. But anyway, scientists, because they say, it is a fact that this universe cannot continue forever. Okay,
that's not necessarily a fact.
No, it is a fact that either
if that's a fact, then it's a fact that God cannot be forever.
No, Kaz, wait. There are three. One of them is that because the energy cannot last forever. Okay, this energy in this universe cannot last
energy
forever.
Cannot be created or destroyed.
Yeah,
no.
Conservation of energy and matter.
No, but
I think real quick, I think we use the word universe differently.
There are three.
We're talking about not today's universe, but what led to today's universe has always existed.
Okay, no, that has always existed. Yes, the what is it? Dense dense gas.
Right. It's
Okay,
pure-
that always
pure energy
existed,
was-
and then something made it to explode. Okay, what made it to explode? I don't know, but we believe that God made it to explode. Okay, and that from that explosion came what is it? Everything came. Okay?
There was no
From that
explosion.
okay, that's the Big Bang theory, but there
Big
was
Bang.
this. Sorry.
The
You cannot
term
prove
Big
it.
Bang comes from somebody making fun of the model. They didn't mean it literally.
Yeah.
It was just a joke.
Okay.
There was no bang. There was no light for the first, I don't know, I can't remember the exact figure, but for several, I think thousands of years, there was no light at all in the universe.
No, there was no light. Not maybe billions of years, not thousands, because that
I can't remember. It could be billions.
Okay,
You're
but
quite
okay,
right about that, yeah.
because Kaz, it was before the Big Bang. It was a dense gas. Okay, very very dense gas.
Hydrogen and helium.
Okay, yes, and then after the Big Bang or whatever, it exploded and it started. Life started from not life, of course. Started planets, stars, everything started to,
The gravity of those
yes,
of clusters
gravity.
of those atoms started to collapse in on
Exactly.
itself and ignite. Yes.
Yeah. So that it started from that. Not that it wasn't anything. No, there was this dense gas, and there is a big crunch theory. There is a big chill, and there is a big rip theory. But one of them is going to happen.
And
Quran
there's also the
says,
cyclical theory.
which one?
There's a cyclical theory
What is that?
where it crunches, expands, expands, infinity.
Yeah, that's the big crunch. That's the big crunch theory.
But it's infinite cycle.
Yes, that's infinite cycle. Yes, I know.
Right. So
Okay.
the universe doesn't end.
No, this
It
universe
keeps collapsing on itself and
Yeah, Mike. That this life, okay, that's this universe that we know today, these galaxies, they end. Yeah, they end, but they reproduce again in that big crunch. The big chill, no, it will never produce again. It will be a cold, dark universe. And the big rip, also the same. It will explode and it doesn't happen anymore. But the only one that it's repeated again and again, which has it is in the Quran as well. Okay, God says in the Quran, if you want, I can read it for you. The verse that back up this big crunch theory that we repeat it again. Okay, several verses. I can find it. You guys can talk, and I will find it.
But it's crazy that the universe is expanding faster and faster. Like there's something pushing it apart. Like they call it just dark matter or something, or dark. What do they call it again? Dark energy or dark matter that's pushing everything apart faster and faster. There's something actually pushing the whole galaxies apart faster and faster.
Okay,
according to scientists, I've heard this. But it's like quantum mechanics.
Yeah, it is expanding.
What's going on there, you know?
Yeah, you say it's expanding faster and faster.
Yeah, it's expanding faster.
Okay, but
faster.
yeah,
do you know what a light cone is?
A light cone in your eye, or what?
No, a light cone is how do I say this? It's like the landscape of not landscape. That's wrong. It's got to be like just the space, right? That light. How do I say it? I should just Google it and give you the official definition. That's all I'll do. A light cone is in relativity, a light cone or a null cone is a geometric representation of the path light would take through space-time from a given event, illustrating the boundary between events that can be causally connected to that event. Those cannot. You see why it was hard for me to articulate that myself. So basically, how it works is speed of light is finite. There's a specific speed of light. So light, anything that you observe in the universe, there's a maximum amount that you could possibly observe based on the speed of light. Right, the light from things beyond that distance has not reached you yet, and there are certain things that the light cannot ever reach you because it's just going too slow,
too fast.
I'm sorry.
You said too slow.
Yeah,
too fast.
Too slow. No, too slow.
The light is moving too slow. I thought
because light is not infinite.
Moving too fast.
Because light is not infinite. There are things in the universe that are not part of the observable universe.
Yeah. But do you agree that scientists have shown that the universe is expanding faster and faster? Or what?
I agree that they've shown that the light cone is expanding faster and faster. But they have no idea what's going on outside that light cone.
Yeah,
because why do they make up like explanations like dark energy or dark matter that's pushing the universe faster and faster apart or something. They
there is
makes up something that they can't see. It's like a dark hole. They can't see it, but they just observe that there's something going on around it.
I don't have.
Kaz, I have to read for you the verse. Yeah, chapter 21, verse 104. The day when we will fold the heaven like the folding of a written sheet for the records, as we began the first creation, so we shall do it all over again. And that is a promise binding upon us. Indeed, we will do it. Okay, so this is the big crunch theory that I believe that this one will happen, not those others, because I believe that God has always existed and will always exist. So he has always created the universe and destroyed it, and then will do it again and again. Okay, forever. And this verse also back it up. All right.
Okay, I asked ChatGPT and it said there's something about that's called dark energy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't have a problem with that definition. I'm not really sure. I don't think
so.
Anybody
Is this
knows
paranormal?
Exactly how
perhaps in your definition
works.
Is this paranormal in your definition, or what would you?
It's a question mark.
Okay, so what would make it paranormal? What would need to happen here before it becomes paranormal?
No, okay. Well,
that's what
I have read it. I think I have read it. Yeah, Martin. Yes, I know that when there is no enough dark matter in this universe, and if there will become more, then it will, the gravity of them bring back again the universe. And they think so far it's not enough. They think there is enough such a dark matter inside the black holes. Okay. And then somehow they will come. Yeah, it will. I don't know. Somehow it will be more in the universe, and then that's why it will come back, because so far it's expanding, and only these dark matters make it to come back. To that big crunch again. And Kaz, I have to read another one for you. Chapter 30, verse 27. It is he who begins forth creation, then he reproduces it. He reproduce it, and that is easy for him, for he is above all comparisons in the heavens and earth. So these are many verses like this that back up that my understanding of the big crunch. Okay.
Well, I mean, as far as I understand it, I believe that ancient Arabic cultures were very mathematically inclined, and I don't have a problem with you telling me that they may have had some kind of insight into the interworkings of the universe, and they could have applied that to their scriptural exegesis or whatever. But I don't know that that's actually evidence that they knew that God actually did anything. I mean,
no, actually,
it's a very simple calculus. The universe either does or does not have a beginning and end.
No, yes,
it either does or does not have a cycle.
Okay. Kaz, before Islam, they didn't have any. They couldn't even read and write. Even Prophet Muhammad himself, the maximum knowledge they had reading and writing. After Islam, even in my home country, Kaz, Persia, okay, before Islam, we didn't have scientists, we didn't have poets. After Islam, it started slowly, because before Islam, only rich people could. No, I know.
No,
look.
When was Islam invented?
Islam was 1400 years ago.
Okay? 1400 years ago, so like 500 AD, right? Because algebra is from 1900 BC.
636 or something like that. 632.
Yeah. Anyway, algebra is from like 2000 years BC, and that's ancient Arabic culture.
No, what I know about that people there themselves, even in Persia, that we have a lot of scientists and so on. It came after Islam. And algebra, there was this Mahdi. He's a Muslim, and he was also saying that it came.
Algebra was invented almost 2,000 years before, but BC, 2000 BC. That's 2,500 years before Muhammad.
Arabs were doing. You mean in Arabia?
It's almost 2.5 millennia before Muhammad. The Arabics in the Arabic people invented algebra 2,500 years before Muhammad.
Okay, that's mathematics, yeah, but that's not about. They didn't know anything about the universe, definitely.
I don't know that.
Okay.
I don't know that. I don't know that.
They didn't know anything about it. Nobody knew. They thought even Earth is flat.
If that's true, I would be surprised. I would be very surprised if that's true. That they studied the stars and they invented algebra and they had no idea how the universe worked. That doesn't make sense to me.
But I wanted to ask you guys, what would you count as evidence, and perhaps what is your definition of evidence?
A definite.
What is your definition of evidence? Because
evidence is a thing that points to a conclusion. Compelling evidence is a thing that points to one conclusion.
That's not the definition of evidence that I use.
You asked for my definition. What definition do you want to use?
I think it's like facts and information that point to a certain belief being true. Or proposition being true. Facts and information.
Yeah. Evidence points to some kind of conclusion.
Like you can have eyewitness testimony. You can have eyewitness testimony as evidence. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the definition that I gave. And I could give you lots of eyewitness testimonies as evidence. I could give lots of arguments. Just in science, they use the same arguments as evidence.
Evidence.
The problem
facts
is
and information.
Eyewitness evidence nowadays is considered the weakest of evidence.
No, it's the strongest in court. In court, it's the strongest.
No,
DNA evidence is the strongest in court.
What?
DNA evidence is the strongest in court.
Yeah, DNA is.
Yeah, but you still need eyewitness for that.
No.
Yeah.
What? No.
You need multiple eyewitnesses. Everything works with eyewitnesses.
Not DNA.
Even that, someone needs to take the DNA. They need to testify. They took the DNA from there. Okay. Eyewitness.
If that was true, we would have no. If that was true, there would be no such thing as a rape conviction.
Yeah. No.
What do you mean?
You're saying
that's also eyewitnesses.
Martin is saying the eyewitness is the woman who does the rape kit.
I guess. I'm talking about those.
When we say eyewitness, we're talking about someone who visually saw the experience.
But what I mean, testimony, testifying in court.
Yeah, people testify.
Like expert testifying that they took this and this is what they did.
Right. Okay.
The whole time it's just even.
I saw that guy shoot that guy.
Yeah. Yeah, I understand what you mean, but I mean the testimony.
That's not eyewitness testimony.
But what I mean, even in
that's firsthand testimony, sure, but it's not eyewitness. You're not saying that you witnessed something. You're saying you did something. I am a scientist. I distilled the samples in this way. I ran this test. I got this. That's firsthand testimony, but it's not eyewitness. Yeah. You're not giving a testimony of what somebody else did. You're giving a testimony of what you did. That's firsthand evidence. That's firsthand knowledge.
I'm just bunching it up into eyewitness. Perhaps it's not correct. It's witness. You testifying that you did something. Or saw something.
You're on the witness stand, but that's not an eyewitness. An eyewitness is someone who saw the event. At least to us Americans, I think. I don't want to speak for Kat.
Certainly evidence requires a mind to appreciate it.
Yeah. So what I mean is there's a lot of people that are when there's evidence being presented in court, even Neil deGrasse Tyson, he was very angry that it's the highest form of evidence in court. He doesn't like it at all. That's eyewitness testimony is the highest form of evidence in court.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. We are now coming to the conclusion. I mean, you can watch the old movie 12 Angry Men. People think they see things. You have a car accident, and there can be 5 eyewitnesses, and they'll all give different stories.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean the car accident didn't happen.
No, but it only happens one way. There's people who say perception is reality. No, it's not. You can perceive something to happen a certain way. That doesn't necessarily mean it happened that way. Right?
I mean, you've seen magic shows.
Yeah.
If I'm an eyewitness to an event and there's another eyewitness and we're giving contradictory evidence.
I'm just saying, now you're making excuses for eyewitness evidence. You understand that you can always make an excuse for evidence. Like I'm just saying, eyewitness testimony is evidence. It is evidence.
Okay, granted, it is evidence, but is it compelling? Does it lead to one single conclusion that we can confident?
It doesn't need to. you can always say there's another conclusion that it can lead to. You
Not
can always
always.
do that stuff as well, that someone planted the DNA there. It could be that conclusion, This is
Sure.
evidence that someone planted the DNA there,
Or even the DNA.
opposing side
I
would
think
make
they
some
just threw out thousands of convictions because some DNA tech was like manipulating it. Again, that's why.
Yeah, but what's the
Chief is
chances of
stressing-
that? You see, there's a lot of evidence that points to someone being guilty, and someone can
Okay.
make excuses for each piece of evidence. But what's
Mhm.
the chances that everything is pointing to this guy being guilty? Then he must be the unluckiest guy ever. Everyone should be strategic against this guy and trying to get him to be convicted.
How many people claim to have firsthand experiences with a deity?
I think lots of people, especially
Lots,
Muslims,
thousands,
it
right?
seems. Yeah, they get in contact with the Christian God.
How many of them really do, though?
I think they do, because they're all life changes, and you sometimes get like the one guy, the one atheist, he got in contact with God, and he was addicted to drugs and everything, and all of that stopped instantly was in his life, and he couldn't. That's a miracle in his life, he said, that it suddenly just stopped. And he said he had every drug on the planet, and the joy he had then when experiencing God, it was nothing like that. It's like higher than any drug that he ever took. There was like absolute joy, and it totally changed his life. And then he was preaching the gospel in prisons and everywhere for people.
I mean, the mind can make you feel all kinds of different ways.
Yeah, I told you can make excuses for it, but I told you can make excuses for any piece of evidence. I told you that.
Okay, yeah, I
it's no
can.
longer evidence. You understand?
But if I go your way and I start just accepting evidence that people
I'm not
say,
saying
then
skeptical. I'm saying being skeptical, but I'm
I'm
just
being
saying,
skeptical. But you're telling me
Yeah.
I'm making excuses.
yeah. But what I mean is, don't be so skeptical that no amount of evidence would make you realize that there's a creator. Be skeptical, but be reasonable. You have to. In court, you can't prove beyond a possible doubt, but beyond a reasonable doubt.
There is a certain level of evidence that I would accept. I don't know exactly what it is. If Muji tells me that Muhammad told him, Allah told him that the moon's going to split tomorrow, right? And then tomorrow the moon, I see it split, and everybody I know for the rest of my life is telling me, yeah, we saw that too. Then yeah, I'm going to be convinced that Muji was right.
There can be alternative explanations, like Mike.
But we don't get that kind of
said
evidence.
It's aliens, perhaps.
Like we get
There's
evidence
always-
that is.
Are you
fundamental
Martin?
things that people
Martin?
just-
Martin, are you
But
Martin?
what I'm saying
Hunty?
is, there's always the other explanation. You can say, no, the aliens, these guys that
No,
believe in aliens, the historical science,
Yeah, but the
Battler
thing is
Antti
that-
said it could be aliens,
Yes,
So-
he can say, he can say. But look, he can say. But the thing is that perhaps Kaz is smarter than Matt Dillahunty, okay, and says aliens cannot come. First of all the way by Moji called them, say come here, or bring all your equipment and split the moon because I want to convince Kaz. Am I right, Kaz? They are not so crazy. They are not so crazy to do that.
If that was to happen, right, that means you had a hypothesis that was demonstrated to be correct by the evidence at hand, right? So even if you're not correct about the God doing it, you're correct about something. You knew something was going to happen. So I have to, at the very least, investigate your position further to find the truth. There must be something that you knew, or somebody gave you some kind of information.
Yeah,
even if you're not 100% right.
Yeah, the thing is that, Kaz, think yourself that even if aliens can split the moon and then put it back again together, okay, they have this advanced technology which is impossible, but let's say they have it, okay, and they have to bring it all the way. I have to be able to contact them, and they listen to me, okay. I say that, look, I'm going to persuade Kaz that God exists, so come and fool Kaz, okay. So they have to come all the way here, bring their equipment, I don't know, their tracks and everything,
Yeah,
But
the idea that aliens would use their tech to fool us about God is a little silly.
It is stupid. To think
I think aliens is just demons, in my opinion.
Okay, so
it doesn't even have to be that dramatic. I mean, I'm sure there are plenty of examples of things that I could think of that would convince me of the existence of God if I was to experience them firsthand, but I don't.
Yeah.
But what about
Okay.
demons? If you experience demons like alien, I think it's just demons in my opinion, because scientists that have studied these alien experiences, if you use Jesus' name, the whole experience
See, that's the
just
thing.
totally stops. You know?
I was flabbergasted to find out that the Catholic Church considers lifting your body from your neck and to your feet off the bed. They call that levitation. Like,
yeah,
if
I
I
don't like
see
the
somebody
Catholic Church.
levitating, if you
I
tell
don't
me
like
that
the
this kid
Catholic
is
Church.
possessed by demons and they're levitating, I'm putting my hands under them. I'm putting my hands over them. There's no wires. What's going on here? That's evidence of something else going on. But that doesn't happen. Instead, they redefine lifting your butt off the bed as levitation. That's not evidence.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is, even they do tests on these things to try and figure out if it's really a demon or just some psychological problem. You know, like religious stuff, they would do religious tests on them, or like all kinds of tests they would do on these guys to make sure it's a demon and not like, because if you have a head problem, exorcism is not going to help for a head problem. You know, it's not going to.
Was it a floating test that the Christians had back in the day where they would throw a woman in the water to make sure
Yeah,
that
but
she
it's
didn't
bad
float?
test. That's bad science, you know. That's bad science.
You see what I mean? But like, that's evidence, right? If I throw a woman in the water and she drowns, and I say that's evidence that she was a witch,
I would say it's
and I'm-
bad evidence.
but it's very bad evidence, right? So that's what I'm saying, right? There's evidence is not all evidence is equal. There's
Yeah, yeah.
degrees of
But I wouldn't deny
reliability and
evidence.
confidence that we have. Now,
But I wouldn't
deny
say
that
no, it's not evidence at all,
necessarily.
because
Well,
what I
in a
mean-
colloquial sense, I would definitely, if you're sitting here trying to tell me that this woman's a witch because she drowned, I'm going to tell you that that's not evidence. You're an idiot.
Well,
I'm sorry.
I think
yeah, I would say it's very bad evidence.
at least according to Monty Python, it's if you float, you're a witch, and then they burn you. If you drown, well, then you weren't a witch.
yeah, I'm sorry. If I mix that up,
Yeah,
that's fine.
I think, very small rocks, a duck.
Yeah.
Anyways, Kaz, I don't know if you know, but your channel's not streaming.
No, I'm not. I know.
Oh,
I'm going to put this up later.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I forgot that I had this set to go. Well,
Yeah, some
I think
technical
it's out here,
problems.
though.
The really good news is we've made it past 3 hours, so I don't know if we're not demon.
We're going for 3-3-3, you know.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
What
there you
about
go.
more threes, huh?
More than- But remember,
But we do it for good. When demons scratch people in 3 or wake them up at 3 a.m. and put them through hell, they do
by
it
the
for
way,
evil, you know.
Yeah. By the way, I asked ChatGPT, did Arabs know anything about algebra before Islam? I mean, in advanced way. Before Islam, that's the answer. The Arabs did not have an advanced systematic form of algebra comparable to what later emerged in the Islamic Golden Age. Pre-Islamic Arab mathematics was mostly focused on arithmetic, trade calculations, and inheritance rules, rather than abstract algebraic concepts. However, algebra as a concept predates Islam and was already being developed by the Babylonians, Greeks, and Indians. The Babylonians 2,000 years ago solved quadratic equations, using these things anyway. So Muslims and Arabs started after Islam. Okay, so while pre-Islamic Arabs were skilled in arithmetic and practical mathematics, and there is no evidence that they had developed a formal advanced system of algebra before Islam. It was after the rise of Islam, especially in Baghdad's House of Wisdom, 8th, 9th century, that algebra was truly developed into a systematic discipline by scholars like something. Okay, anyway, so that they didn't know anything about universe and so on. That's a fact. That Arabs, they just could maximum read and write and count. How much is this? How much is that?
I think that's a bit of a leap you're taking there with those facts that you just read off.
That was ChatGPT. Okay.
Yeah, I accept those facts. I just don't accept that necessarily means that they had no idea about the universe.
I mean, nobody had that much idea that okay, even advanced nations that the world will. These are things that we know recently, Kaz, that the world will is expanding, the universe, and how it will end, and or even that will end. Okay, people didn't know that this universe will end
Right.
in the past.
Didn't Einstein disagree with Hubble for like 30 years about the expansion of the universe?
Yeah, perhaps.
Yeah,
I
because
don't know.
I think Einstein had a bias against the universe existing, and then it caused. He said it's the biggest blunder of his scientific career because he could have figured out that the universe had a beginning way before another guy, another scientist.
Mhm.
But his biases influenced him.
But whatever.
He believed in God, wasn't he? Wasn't he a deist? Didn't Einstein?
I'm not 100% sure, but he believed in some kind of, I don't know.
Yeah, I thought he believed in God.
He
but
made up his own God,
doesn't care about, like God put things in motion, and now he doesn't. He didn't believe in prophets.
I think, yeah.
Look,
I
here.
What happened?
In the 15th century BC, the Hindu Rigveda
Zero.
describes a cyclical oscillating universe in which a cosmic egg, the Brahmada, expands out of a single concentrated point before subsequently collapsing again.
What,
So they didn't even have to come up with the idea themselves. They could have just borrowed it from the Hindus.
The Hindus, yeah. And the Hindus came up with zero, right?
So maybe Hindu
Yeah,
God is
I wouldn't.
God.
I wouldn't see this as good evidence. I wouldn't see this as good evidence that it came from God, or
No, it was definitely not. The idea that somebody had some kind of insight about how the universe works in any kind of particular way does not necessarily point to divine knowledge, right? It could just be a lucky guess, or it could be based on some actual observations because that's the reality.
Or it could be wrong. It may not actually happen.
We still don't know that that's right.
Right. Yeah, it's just a theory.
Yeah, but if you guys want more evidence, you can ask even ChatGPT for evidence. ChatGPT will list multiple pieces of evidence. I have massive amounts of evidence. I've created some videos with listing some of the evidence.
When you ask ChatGPT, ask it for rebuttals of anything you ask. Whenever I ask GPT for anything, I always tell it, also tell me how I'm wrong, or tell me what anybody would tell me to say that I'm wrong.
Yeah, but there's always a rebuttal to some kind of evidence,
Yeah, and you have to consider that.
Yeah, I do. That's why I love talking to atheists and figuring out perhaps I'm deceived somewhere, because I don't want to be deceived, because I've seen how massive deceptions can cause massive problems in people's lives,
So,
especially with these Muslims.
If God exists, then the only thing in the universe that's not designed is God.
Yeah, but say we make rocks, you make random rocks in our created world. Is that now designed, each rock? Because we just randomly created.
Let's say
tell the
you're a video
program
game programmer, right? You're a video game programmer. You tell the program you want it to make rocks. You don't care how they look specifically, so you just give it some kind of algorithm, right?
Yeah.
To say all the rocks will follow in this kind of algorithmic output. But that's still a design.
Yeah, I agree.
You designed the algorithm, right?
Yeah, I think scientists are even discovering not the program code just at the basis of life, but even in the universe, they're beginning to start some kind of programming code.
So if design is ubiquitous, if it's everywhere, then pointing to any particular point of it and saying this is the evidence that the design exists doesn't make sense.
No, but you get better pieces of evidence pointing to design, direct design, like the programming code that I'm talking about. We know from previous experiences, any language or anything like that usually comes from intelligence. Initial
Symbolic
input of intelligence. Especially if it gives commands, expecting some kind of goal or some kind of response, then it further. This is the highest form of information. Is information that expects it to do the command, execute the command. If you understand what I mean.
Yeah, I'm trying to express it, and I guess I'm not doing a good job, but the difference is that we use symbolic codes. We use things that are not themselves to describe themselves. Whereas DNA and molecules atoms in the quote unquote code of the universe, they're not representative. It's not an atom doesn't stand for something else, and then those other things create the matter. The atom is the code. If the code is not the right word to use, a code.
It is code.
When we use the word code, we're talking
Scientists
about
use code.
language. They use that
Even
word.
Richard Dawkins says it's like computer code. It's like a computer, a lot of like a computer code.
No, computer code is like it.
Journals.
No, that's backwards. That's backwards. It predates computer code. Computer code. It can't be like computer code because computer code came afterwards.
Yeah.
Computer code is like it.
Yeah. But what I mean
That's
is,
a huge
he
difference.
says the journals of molecular biology has so many similarities with computer journals, and that it's basically become biology has become like computer science in a lot of forms. They just have different jargons being used. That's what Richard Dawkins says, but he doesn't see the connection that it actually points to intelligence. His biases don't allow him that connection.
It's like saying that Jesus is like Superman instead of saying Superman is like Jesus.
I think all superheroes come from the Bible, I mean, like Christ, they copy a lot of stuff from.
Right. What you're saying is the
movies copy
opposite.
from
It's like
Bible.
saying Jesus comes from Superman.
What do you mean?
The code is a development that humans created based on the fact that we have this DNA quote unquote code, right? The DNA code predates it. The computer
someone
code is
did it
like the
before
DNA
us.
code.
No, someone figured
we've
this stuff out
extrapolate-
way before.
We've extrapolated the principles of reality that allow us to create these representational codes because they function similar to these physical codes of molecules and structures. So, but then we go backwards and we say, oh, look, this code in the DNA is just like this code we made up ourselves. That's totally the wrong way to look at it. It's exactly backwards.
But don't you understand that scientists are looking into space for any code because they know it has a connection to intelligence?
Yeah, it's
From our previous
anthropomorphization.
experience.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's usually
it's
as
projection. You're projecting yourself onto these inanimate objects.
No, I don't think you understand that this is actual. We can store our programming code on there. We can change the code so that it follows our commands. All of that points to that someone has figured this stuff out way before us. Like,
You can't give the
creator.
DNA a command code. You have to create a whole new code.
No. You can put new commands in there with. They have these machines that cut the DNA out and then they put their code in, and then
You would actually have to just create the new machine.
No. We hijack the already machines that are in there in our body, and use them for our goals.
Martin, are you talking about the CRISPR?
Yeah.
CRISPR. My niece works
We hijacked it.
CRISPR.
They're not hijacking. They're physically altering it. They're changing it entirely.
Yeah, they're using it.
They're taking out pieces. They're putting other pieces in.
Yeah, but
They're changing
the
it.
stuff we programming. Yeah, we program it.
But you can't just
We're cracking
enter
the
a
code.
command
We're cracking
and
the
say, "Hey,
code
DNA,
more.
start making this." You have to change the
No.
DNA itself.
Yeah. There's certain code that I told you that programs for certain stuff in your body, and we changed
Hey
it.
guys, I'm sorry. I've been there too long. I gotta start wrapping it
Okay.
up, guys. I'm
Okay,
so
it's
sorry.
Fun, guys.
It was
If
fun.
you want more
Please send me
evidence,
the video.
let
as
me
soon as
know.
you can.
Yes, yes, I will. Okay, Kaz.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Okay,
It was
thank
fun,
you
guys.
for being here. All right.
Thank you for
Yeah.
challenging me.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. It was fun.
Yeah.
All right, we'll talk later. Bye bye.
Yes, you did. Thank you. Have a nice time. Thank you for being
too.
here. Thank you. Take
God
care.
bless.
God bless you. Thank you. Yes, guys. We can wait. Let me see. A few minutes.
You want
and
to
we'll
go
be
3-3-3, Much?
Yes. We are going to do
we got
3-3.
and we got 3 people on, so don't
Yeah.
tag any people.
More
But
things.
it's funny, Martin, to watch you guys talk because I think your point was that we write code because we come from code, and he was trying to say, well, you see code in our DNA because we write code. I mean, it seemed like you guys were looking at the same thing and seeing it in the exact opposite perspectives.
Yeah, how our science usually works is we look at previous stuff that happened, and then if something happens like that causes that to happen, and then you see something like that in the future. That's why scientists are looking for any waves that is any form of information. Any waves from the universe, anything in the galaxy that is a form of information, because then they know something is, especially if it wants to communicate, then it points to intelligent, because then they know it's probably from intelligence. But a lot of them are blinded into seeing that the information in our DNA and the commands it gives and all the programming, the crazy amount of programming that's happening there, is on a next level. We can copy our programming code, and our computers can be so much improved if we just learn what's going on there more, the design strategies and functions that was used in our DNA code, because there's intelligence involved in it.
Yeah, well, see, I see the complexity as a poor design. It reminds me of, I think it was when Lexus first came on the market. They had a commercial, and the voiceover guy's going, "There's 21 motors, there's blah, blah, blah." And he goes, "And that's just in the driver's seat." And I was like, well, just give me the old car where you reach down and pull the lever up and slide the seat back and forth. I think DNA is too complex. That shows a poor creator.
You can't win with you atheists. If it's too simple, then it's easier. A kid could make this. And then when it's too complex, you say, no, it's not good enough.
I love simplicity, man. I think there's too many bones in the foot.
Well, it's just 4 digits.
We got too many.
DNA consists of 4 digits. It's a 4-digit code.
Or whatever it is. I know.
Yeah,
but
it's just 4 digits.
Wind around. You got telomeres getting shorter and shorter. You get gray hair. Poor Munji went bald. I don't know what happened. Kaz went bald.
Yeah.
Martin's over there with his beautiful South African Afrikaner hair. But
for now, it's also gonna die, from all the copying. The code falls apart, The code falls apart from all the copying. Have you seen that way? They take a YouTube video and they copy it over and over and over and upload it again, and then the whole video just starts disintegrating.
Right.
If you copy and paste it over and over, huh?
Multiplicity with Michael Keaton, where he clones himself, and the clones, he's got like 6 clones. They keep getting dumber and dumber.
I haven't seen that, but I'm talking about the YouTube video that did a test, uploading and downloading, and it just becomes worse and worse. The video, the quality goes worse, because if you usually copy and paste stuff, it can cause errors and the information to disintegrate. So imagine how good our code was at the beginning, when it had absolute no errors in or anything.
All right.
And the machines, Muji, the nano machines is so awesome, Muji. There's a nano machine that it takes the DNA, because the DNA starts, when it's being copied, Muji, it starts wrapping. So then you have this tangled mess. Then there's a nano machine that literally, it cuts the DNA and then takes one strand through and then binds it again. Imagine you have these in your pocket when you have your earphones. Normally, goes like this, and then you have these machines that untangle untangle your earphones, and then you're like, oh, it doesn't come from intelligence. It's just I can't look at, as an engineer, I can't look at that and say, oh, it's just no one designed it. There's no creator.
Why did the intelligent designer make it that a copy degrades? Why make it that every time you make a copy?
That's why it has automatic error correction built into it, but it slips through that even in our computers. We have automatic error correction built in here. Yes, we're at 3, Muji. Muji.
Yeah, we are going.
This is the good 3, Muji, not the evil 3 that demons do.
Okay, so before we go, thank you for being here, everybody.
Guys.
God bless you all.
God bless you guys.
God bless you,
Muji.
Mike, everybody.
Love you all a lot.
Thank you. Love you all. Thank you.
Okay,
Take care.
cheers, guys.
333. Okay.
Never done before.
Yes. Cheers. Take care. Bye-bye.